'cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make.
Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave.
Good morning. An innocent man who was standing there minding his own business. This is Detective Patrick Walsh from the Newport, Rhode Island Police Department. Detective Walsh was out on injured leave resulting from what's being described as a brawl on Thames Street. Why was he out on injured leave? Because he broke his hand. How did he break his hand, you may ask? He broke it on this innocent kid's face. This is Christopher Adam. Now let me back up and give you the story. In the early morning hours of June 26, 2022, Officer John Sullivan, also from the Newport, Rhode Island Police Department, claims that he witnessed Dennis Engelson throwing a silicone bar mat toward pedestrians, and after asking him to stop and leave, made the decision to arrest him when he didn't comply. When he went to arrest Engelson, Officer Sullivan said Engelson resisted and additional officers were called to the scene. Engelson's attorney, Christopher Malia, says that they vehemently deny what's being alleged by the Newport, Rhode Island Police Department as it pertains to Mr. Engelson.
Good morning, Your Honor. Your Honor, not guilty all counts. We vehemently deny what's being alleged by the Newport Police as it pertains to Mr. Engelson.
Engelson is right here with his hands behind his back being thrown up against a street trolley on Thames Street. Now, while this is happening, another guy with a green shirt and white hat approaches the officers while they're dealing with Engelson. He looks like he's recording with his left hand, and he places the back of his right hand on the left shoulder of one of the cops. He's quickly attacked by Detective Walsh, who aggressively pushes the green shirt guy about 15 or 20 feet. Another kid somehow gets in between both him and Walsh continues to push him into a light pole. Detective Walsh, pre-broken hand, then returns to the scuffle with Engelson. That's when Chris Adam enters the picture. Now, Chris has nothing to do with this entire commotion. He just happened to be walking home when all this was unfolding in front of him. With two cops dealing with Engelson, Adams walks up on the scene, minding his own business, happens to walk behind Detective Walsh, and without any warning, and within 1 second, Walsh pivots on his left foot, swings around, and swings his right arm with an open hand, striking Chris Adam on the left side of his face. Now, if you want to see this footage in its entirety, because I can't post it here, you know what YouTube will do with this video and my channel, I'll leave the link in the description. But striking Chris in the face wasn't enough for Detective Walsh. According to video evidence from at least 2 angles, Walsh continued to attack Adam, bringing him to the ground and into the street against the curb, where he continued to pin him down and punch him in the face. At this point, I always ask, what if this was your son or brother? What if this was you? What would you do? You know you didn't do anything wrong, and there's no reason for the cop to be treating you like this. So what would your reaction be? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Newport Police Detective Jason Roach, not Cockroach, but Roach, said, quote, "The officer, that's Walsh, turned and was startled to see a man within inches of him. The man was later identified as Christopher Adam. The officer, that's Walsh, feared." Feared that he was about to act violently toward him. The officer struck him with an open hand and brought him to the ground to arrest him. And why did he do that, Detective Cockroach, when Chris Adam clearly did nothing wrong? If Detective Walsh is that fearful, maybe he should consider becoming a pizza delivery driver. Oh, wait, he can't. That job is far more dangerous than being a cop. Walsh wouldn't do well delivering round pies anyway, because he's still got to work on that round waist as he hones his psychopathic tendencies.
2 men were arrested following an exchange with Newport police last month, and they were in court this morning. The incident was caught on video. It is now under investigation by the Rhode Island Attorney General's office and the Rhode Island State Police.
Both of the men pleaded not guilty to all charges. They continue to dispute the Newport Police Department's account of events and say the video speaks for itself.
According to the video, there's no indication that Chris Adam was taking a defensive posture that could have scared anybody. As he walks up to Walsh, his right hand is in his pocket and his left hand is near his side. Adam was charged with obstruction and resisting arrest. He pleaded not guilty. The charges for both Chris Adam and Dennis Engelson were later dropped. Unfortunately, a grand jury declined to bring charges against Detective Patrick Scaredy Cat Walsh. So we have another case where cops can do things you and I just can't do. If you did what Patrick Walsh did, you'd be criminally charged, spend time in jail, and be forced to pay restitution. But because it's clear that badges and uniforms do grant special privileges and immunities, someone like Detective Walsh walking free is expected in this day and age. A civil rights lawsuit has been filed against the Newport, Rhode Island Police Department and Detective Walsh. In the lawsuit, Adams says he suffered a concussion and a black eye. He claims the incident caused him to lose wages, rack up medical bills, and experience pain and suffering. Adams' suit alleges the police department failed to properly train and supervise their officers. He's seeking unspecified damages. And of course, the Newport, Rhode Island Police Department didn't respond to further questioning. I'll leave the link to the Newport, Rhode Island Police Department Facebook page and Twitter page if you'd like to politely let them know what you think about their treatment of an innocent man. And I'll leave the links to the full videos in the description as well. Those videos will be embedded in a couple of different articles. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comments section below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know, subscribe to my email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. If you want to support the channel further, the links are in the description. Grab a shirt, become a channel member, but more importantly, stand for your rights. If you don't exercise...
Started a little premature showulation right there. Hope you're all doing well. Happy Monday. Hope your weekend was relaxing, or at the very least tolerable. Lots going on this week. Excuse me, in this morning show. I talk about the SNL backfire, which of course I did cover in a standalone video that I was just about to release, and I see Tim Pool released his coverage of it at noon, thus making me releasing my video pointless now. But I've got Ricky Gervais, story on Ricky Gervais, another write-off Monday, that's right. Glad you're tuning in. Lots to talk about, lots of different topics, articles. Let's start with Ricky Gervais now having people running petitions to try and have his his Netflix special, removed. Why? Because he made a very obvious joke about Make-A-Wish kids. Pac-Man Happy Game Day should be a good game tonight. Yeah, I think it's a trap game for the Packers. Fortunately, almost everybody lost this weekend, so even if the Packers lose, they're still in that wild card spot, I think. So that'll be good. But I don't have a great feeling about tonight. But we'll see. But he makes this joke, which apparently is a joke that is unforgivable and that Netflix should remove from his special.
I've been doing a lot of video messages recently for terminally ill children, and only if they request it, obviously. I don't burst into hospitals and go, "Wake up, Baldy." Look, Lee's working on TikTok. Look.
So that's the first part of it. The media is extremely upset that he called them baldies. Well, when you think of most Make-A-Wish kids, they are bald. But also, I think that the joke itself isn't even that great, and it's obvious, that got everybody kind of mad, but there's a line coming up here that everybody freaked out about.
No, I did a lot through the pandemic, presumably because they couldn't even see their own family, and it's through Make-A-Wish Foundation, just a charity, Make-A-Wish Foundation. They're great, and they give these dying kids their one wish, and if it's me, I always say yes, and I always start the video the same way. I go, "Why didn't you wish to get better?" What, you fucking retarded as well? I don't do that either, okay?
So he said retarded.
He said, I don't do that.
There's
Hey,
about 200 articles calling it a ableist slur.
Piggies.
They just invent words now to justify, more censorship and more outrage and things of that nature. It's a funny joke. It's super cynical. But I think the point is, and not to explain the joke, the sick kid is not the joke. The joke is that it's like a naughty thing that he shouldn't be making a joke about. Like, he's not the kid is not the butt of the joke. The reason the joke is funny is because it's offensive, not because the kid is sick, or not, you know what I mean? Like, it's so obvious that is not, he's not making fun of the sick kid. That's the joke.
These are all jokes, okay? I don't even use that word in real life, the R word. You just used it, Rick. Yeah, in a joke. That's not real life, is it? I'm playing a role. You sounded pretty convincing. Yeah, because I'm good. You wouldn't level that accusation at other art forms. You wouldn't go up to Sir Anthony Hopkins and go, "Oh, I saw you in Silence of the Lambs. You a cannibal, are you?" No, I was playing a role. Oh, seemed pretty convincing. Yeah. He's good. And I'm good, and that's why I do things well. Imagine if I came out and did things not very well, so you knew I was joking. That'd be fucking retarded.
double retard, both barrels. Of course, viewers demand Netflix remove offensive program from platform.
What viewers?
For a man who profited so heavily from a
those
TV
viewers
program
out.
that had cancer as a central plot, it feels really weird.
I mean, these people are real people. This is the most vile attempt at comedy I've ever seen. Sick and dying children wish for a video from him, and he mocks them like this? Shame on you, Ricky Gervais. You know who's retarded? I often don't use that word either. I used to use it more often, and then I became friends with somebody who had a child that had Down syndrome, and she said it like really bothered her. And I said, okay, fine. Like, that's cool. That's fine, But the fact that the thing is, like, I was never, like, using that word is not mocking developmentally
Oh
disabled
yeah, that was
children.
awesome.
Also, it's actually a word that means you're slow, For the record, this is a clip Ricky Gervais put out on November 29th, which received relatively little kerfuffle. And now, on December, Friday, and then into this morning, people are losing their minds and want it removed. Again, the joke is not the sick kids. The joke is that he's saying something so absurd. Also, I think it's also interesting that they're kind of ignoring the fact that Ricky Gervais said he always does them too. Not a lot of people do these Make-A-Wish things. It's so weird that, like, people are so soft, so 10-ply soft. It's wild to me. And then one of the moms that he actually did a Make-A-Wish thing came out and said, "Oh, it was disgusting. You can make fun of everything." The offensive part of the joke is the joke. Like, I don't know if you guys, maybe this was just a Midwest thing. I don't know, but I grew up with dead baby jokes. Like, dead baby jokes were funny because they're offensive. I don't really remember any dead baby jokes, but I remember they were like a thing. Probably when I was like, I don't know, must have been like middle school or early high school, I think. I can't remember. I don't really remember. Let's see. I'm literally searching top dead baby jokes. 50 of the funniest dead baby jokes of all time. How do you get 100 babies into a bucket, a blender? How do you get them back out again with Doritos? What's funnier than a dead baby? A dead baby in a clown costume. Like the fact that you were like the dead baby part is the joke. Yeah, I feel like I remember them being like kind of cringe, if I remember correctly. Well, let's get this psycho hose beast off the screen.
Yeah, I think.
So I didn't want to spend a lot of time on the Alex Jones thing because everyone else has already talked about it. Everybody else has already uploaded videos on it. Everybody else has already kind of talked it through. But I do think it's pretty interesting. I think Alex coming back, I think is a W. But I also want to point out that like, hey, Alex Jones was never banned from Rumble. He was never banned. He's never banned from Rumble, and nobody's like spazzing out talking about how great Rumble is. They're all like, "Oh my God, X, such a stunning and brave move." Yes, I'm super happy that he's back on X. People view X as like quote unquote more important because there's more normies there. I get that. I'm not going to pretend that. What does X even have? 400 million users or something like that? It's 10 times bigger than Rumble. But I still think I'm glad that he's back. When you look at kind of the mainstream media meltdown, pretty hilarious. You have nobody's doing their whole "I'm going to Threads now" thing, which was kind of the modern day. Is kind of the modern day.
Moving to Canada.
I'm moving to Canada if Trump wins the presidency.
Called it.
Rumble is pretty small. You think so? I think 40 million users in the United States and Canada is not exactly small. I don't know what their worldwide usage is. Probably not nearly as big as YouTube or whatever. Like they're probably the most saturated in the United States, I would guess, but I don't know that answer. Peter, I'm so very sorry to hear that. You know what I think? I think there are a lot of other shows that are not slow and boring that you can tune into, and I think that would be great. I think that I am slow and boring. That's my appeal. Rolling Stone having a meltdown about it, of course. The Daily Beast having a meltdown about it. The Twitter space was also legendary afterwards. The Twitter space afterwards had, at one point, Elon talking directly to Alex. Mark Dice was in there. Andrew Tate was in there. Dave Smith was in there. I think Patrick Bet-David was there. Something, like
I don't want to listen.
It was legendary. And then in the middle of it all, Vivek took a piss. It was pretty great. It was pretty great. I didn't listen very long because like I can't do spaces where everyone's just like talking over themselves. Talking over each other is kind of dumb. And like I wanted to hear Alex and Elon interact. I didn't really. I mean, the freaking Krasensteins were in there, and it was like basically ruining it. Piers Morgan having an absolute diaper rage about Elon Musk coming back. Again, look, you can't bear. I mean, there's no point. There's no point in burying the guy twice. He lost a civil court case for $1 billion. He lost all of his platforms. Like, what else do you want? Is he supposed to say? He's supposed to say stay banned forever from everything. Like I think that like, and Piers Morgan, the ultimate irony. This guy points out, I just can't get over the fact of how your show is called Uncensored. And you're calling for more censorship. The things are changing. If you look at Alex Jones, people don't think there's an interest in what this guy has to say. 600,000 new followers in the last 48 hours and growing. And growing. So you see, like, whenever this was last updated, he was at 1.45 million earlier today. If I refresh this, he's probably getting another 100 or 200,000. He's getting another 150,000 followers.
Using the
so
light.
Today alone, Alex Jones will probably get 500,000 new followers. Up from yesterday's 300,000. So he'll end up with like 1 million new followers in a single day. I mean, I can't think of anyone who's ever grown that big, like that quick. So there's obviously people are obviously interested in what the guy has to say. He obviously has a following. So why shouldn't he have a platform? This number is actually. I didn't think I knew Alex was popular, but I did not think he was going to get like 1 million new followers. That's actually nuts. They also brought back the old school InfoWars handle too, I think. Yep, at InfoWars, which was banned and now back. So they brought all this stuff back. Wait, what's interesting here? Oh, they just retweeted an old November. This is an old November post. So they haven't posted anything, but they've done a few retweets, it looks like. Oh no, here's one. So they're posting back on this again. So I think that's good. I think it's good he's back. I think it's going to create some interesting stuff. I think the community note system is actually pretty well versed to handle if like he says anything heinous or insane or anything like that. Piers Morgan being mad about it, I don't care. David Levitt saying Elon Musk is responsible for every person who dies now that Alex Jones is back on Twitter. What? Dies? Is that like everybody who dies like on the planet? That Lego DeLorean says kicking my ass. I'm having fun trying to build it though. That's the fun of Legos. You got to take your time. Build it slow. Build a couple of sections a day. So that's all good. That's all good news. Adam Kinzinger crying about it. With Alex Jones back, every advertiser still on this platform needs to leave. Okay. So then where would you cry? By the way, Mark Dice points out, 2 months ago you said you were going to leave, yet you're still whining here every day. Lead by example, delete your account. What people are finding out rapidly is that it's extremely difficult to bring people over to new platform. Threads launched and they had all these fake numbers about how many people were on Threads. And then you would go there and post and nobody would interact. It's the same way, like, I have 1.2 million subscribers on YouTube. I could barely bring 1% of them over here. People don't want to move because they're used to platforms, and I get that. Is that the dollar toothbrush guy? Yes, it is. 1 penny. But yes, that's the guy. That's the Target Tory douchebag. That is the Target Tory a douchebag. I get a little Publica video for you now. Let's do. What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Publica with an interesting.
I just now read your message.
To highlight an interesting story. I've talked about. I think I talked about in the last video I did for the Publica about Riley Gaines going up against the Biden administration, talking about protecting women's sports, and I think that it's a foregone kind of conclusion or point to. I'm not going to belabor the point. Everybody knows that biological men, in most cases, in competition sports and feats of strength, have advantages over biological women. This has always been the case. It's been the case since the beginning of time. The only people who dare to, try to deny that fact are political ideologues and creeps. I've often said that essentially there are really only two ways that we can defeat this woke intrusion into women's sports. The first of which is having women be brave enough to simply refuse to.
Or do you think he's actually doing that?
Biological.
He's doing like a deep.
And we've seen this in
his
several
convictions
cases.
about
One,
shit that was being said
not that long ago, there was a Brazilian jiu-jitsu tournament in which, in the female category, a large percentage of them were actually biological men, and some of the biological women simply said, "Not going to do it. Not going to roll around on the ground with a biological man who identifies as a woman." Not to mention, even if that individual isn't there for nefarious reasons, if they're just there to have their gender identity affirmed, they're going to have a gigantic physical advantage over any biological woman in that same category. So that's the first way. Women have to just stop. Just stop. Refuse to compete against them. Let them go run out there by themselves, take a lap by themselves while everyone laughs at them. The second way would be to reduce it to the ridiculous, or in this case, increase it to the ridiculous. Every husband, brother, cousin, friend, father of these women who are competing in women's sports that are letting biological men in the categories with them should sign up. Every one of these stupid soccer teams that lets biological men, or rugby teams that lets biological men, an entire team of men, biological men, should enter those leagues and destroy everybody. Identify as a woman, destroy everyone. Join their soccer leagues, join their rugby leagues, join their hockey leagues, join their wrestling leagues, join their jiu-jitsu leagues, join their dart leagues, join their whatever it is. Entire teams of biological men with full beards who play the sport should join and make it so ridiculous that they have to, make a decision. Well, this is the story of one woman who did the former, who was brave enough to say, you know what, I'm not going to submit to your insanity. Now, what's interesting here is this is a pool league, or billiards. If you're from across the pond, you might call it billiards or whatever. But now, pool isn't necessarily something that I would say absolutely, is a feat of, you have a man and a woman. The man has a clear advantage. Pool isn't as much about strength. In all the pool leagues that I've played in, it's generally not. No, that's not true. It is gendered. When you play in when you go to the pro level, when you go to states, men compete against men, women compete against women. I suppose on the break, men have some, physical advantages. Let's just say there may be advantages in pool, but it's not as big as, say, football or swimming. But there are probably advantages. So this brave woman did
those
what
things. It's
you're
impossible
supposed
to
to do.
touch your right shoulder with your right arm.
Pool
Really?
player received a round of applause when she forfeited a pool tournament rather than compete against a trans woman in the finals. Leanne Pinches opted to walk away from the finals of an English Pool Association 2023 Champion of Champions Ladies. So it was a female division, okay? You could argue something like maybe darts, probably kind of neutral, pool, probably closer to neutral. But if the league has a designated league for men and women, then we can assume that there's probably some advantage. Maybe, again, pool and darts may not be as crazy as a difference as swimming or gymnastics or weightlifting or things like that. But there are still gendered divisions. So this woman it was playing in a tournament, right? And just said, nah, I'm not doing it. And you see a video of the moment shows Pinches, this is a woman, and Haynes vied to see who would break. As they vied to see who would break. Okay, so in pool tournaments, you both you hit a ball and see who gets closer to the rail, and then that's who gets the break. Pinches won and shook hands with Haynes, but then walked towards the tournament official and apparently declared forfeit. Pinches proceeded to unscrew her pool cue, pack it up, as Haynes raised her hands in disbelief. This biological man couldn't believe that this woman didn't want to play against him. Realizing what happened, the crowd loudly cheered and applauded Pinches for walking away. According to the English Pool Association website, Haynes has won at least 8 tournaments since the start of the year.
Only girls can be the mummies. Only boys
so this
can be
biological
the
man is dominating the pool, so maybe it does matter.
Everybody's fancy. Everybody's fine.
Here's the clip.
Yes, man.
Love it. Love that the crowd cheered. Pinch's brother applauded his sister's decision. Full credit and great respect to my sister, Lynn Pinches, yesterday for taking a stand and not playing in the biggest match of her pool life because she feels it's so unfair to have to compete against trans women, Barry Pinches wrote on Facebook. I could completely agree with her view, and it's totally unfair to expect women to compete against trans women in pool or any other sport for that matter. So apparently this biological man has been absolutely crushing it. The brother added that he does not have an issue with trans identifications, but rather trans women competing in women's sports. For the record, this post is about fairness in women's sport. That is all. I have no problem whatsoever. If somebody wants to identify themselves as whatever they want to be, I have nothing against Harriet Haynes. This was at least the second instance in recent weeks of women refusing to compete against a trans counterpart in sports. More of this. There needs to be more of this. Last week, in response to a news story about women dropping out of a martial arts tournament, that's what I was talking about earlier, tennis legend Martina Navratilova said, "This is what is happening. Women are self-excluding themselves from competitions they trained for. Now tell me how this is fair again." Absolute boss. And by the way, this is like, a big deal. There's probably a lot of money on the line, I would suspect. People might say women's sports are boring, but I disagree. There are excellent female pool players. And there are excellent female dart throwers. You have to obviously be into watching pool, or you have to be into darts. There are great female bowlers. I bowl with one in my league. She pretty consistently throws 700 series. So I mean, and she's just, it's wild to me that this just does, that people accept this. But when the women stand up for it and say, I'm done with this. I'm done. No, I'm not competing against a biological man. I think it's great. It's absolutely great. Here's a better video, I think.
You can win the lag.
So it looks like she won the break. She tells the person, the official, I'm out, I'm forfeiting. Get bent.
Yes, man.
And look at her, she's like, this guy's like, this trans individual's like, what's happening? What are they applauding for? I don't get it. Love it. Love every bit it. Love it. Even Kevin Sorbo, yes. Love her hearing the crowd cheering for Lynn. The bloke looks stupid holding this pointless, undeserved trophy. I get it. This is why is billiards gendered. Yeah, I mean, height, arm reach, reach across the table. I guess that's true. Reaching across the table, men are generally taller than women. So that's probably true. And again, like, I've got more to say about this, and I'm going to say it in the members only part of this video. So if you're a member, you'll see it start. If you haven't, well then, if you haven't joined yet, if you join, then hopefully you'll join and hear what else I have to say. If not, I hope you enjoyed the video though. Now, in the members part of this video, if you're watching me live stream this, you get it for free on my Rumble stream. But it is my opinion that every single one of these biological men who want to compete against biological women in sporting events, in gendered leagues, are weak predators. That's my opinion. They are weak, predatory men who enjoy humiliating women, who couldn't cut it in the men's divisions, who couldn't cut it in the men's leagues. That's my opinion, and I'm allowed to have that. I don't believe that being like humiliating women is your right. Gender affirmation is not a right. It is a nicety that nice people allow you to do. You want to walk around with a Party City wig on your head? Go ahead. Just use the right bathroom and stay in your lane in gendered sports. And 99% of people would be fine with you. That's why I'm telling you that these trans individuals who are always biologically male, who want to compete against biological women, are predatory creeps. They are the type of people that peep on women and look through windows. They're male feminists who end up getting Me Too'd. That's who these people are, in my opinion. Okay, it's very clear. It's very clear to me that this small group, right? It might be 100 people worldwide who are biological men and trans who absolutely must compete against women are deranged. They get off on humiliating women. They get off on making women feel uncomfortable. They get off on forcing themselves into women's spaces like bathrooms and locker rooms. That gets them off. They have a fetish. They have every right to play all the pool they want, or all the swimming events they want, or all the cycling events that they want, but they're going to compete in their biological division. And it's just so funny to me. If I were wrong, okay, if I were wrong, how come we don't see all the same number of biological men competing in the correct biological category, right? It's because they're predators and creeps and they get off on it. That's my opinion. Prove me wrong. They know exactly what they're doing. You know, forcing women to have to be nude with them in the locker room at the YMCA. By the way, shame on the YMCA. Disgusting that they continue to side with these creeps that want their giant, their swinging female penises out while women are other women are trying to change and shower in the locker room. That's a case that the YMCA has continued. The YMCA has continually condoned this behavior. When you force your way into women's spaces, you are a predator and a creep. You want to be trans? Cool. You want to be trans and compete in cycling events? Cool. You want to be trans and be biologically male and compete against biological females? No. It's pretty simple. We're not talking about like any real restrictions on your movement in life. You can be trans and compete in whatever sport you want, okay? You just don't get to compete against women because it makes your little female penis hard. Because that's what it does. If you want to be a biological male and be trans and dress, present as female, but you're biological male, and compete against biological men in swimming, cycling, whatever, more power to you. There's a reason that every one of these mediocre men want to compete against women. It's because they suck. Not one. I mean, how many of these? Look at Leah Thomas, ranked number 400 in the country or something. Switches to the female league, suddenly is number 1 in the world. How come you never see somebody who's in the top 50 in their respective sport become trans and want to go compete against an inferior opponent, physically inferior? I don't mean that in a negative way, women. I mean, these men know that they have a significant advantage from Jump Street. It's gross. And, huge ups, as somebody who enjoys pool and huge ups for this woman walking away. And, everyone should be booing this trans individual. If he wants to play pool in a men's league, no one would care. That's where the trans mafia comes after people. Nobody would give a damn if this biological male wanted to look the way they do and competed in the men's league. There is a reason why he competes against women, and it's because he is a mediocre, weak man who gets off on it. That's the fact, and I hope you enjoyed that. I like doing my little, locals segments during the week. It's always a good time for me. I think these guys are basically rapists. I think that they're, that they're one step away from being a rapist. Because all of the same shit, all of the same things that drive a rape, okay, are driving these biological men. Rape is about power dynamic. Rape is about dehumanizing. Rape is not about blowing your load, okay? And that's exactly what this man is doing to these women. He's raping them. He's dehumanizing them. He's dominating them. He's humiliating them. It is all the same thing. It is every major... These men are rapists without the balls to actually rape somebody. That's who they are. 9/10 of a rape is happening when they do this shit. Trans man, once one of my motivations for becoming a man was because I was denied baseball. I love baseball. When I turned 11, I was informed I had to go play stupid softball with the girls. Well, that's interesting. There's no... In my Little League, even if I was in the Midwest, we had girls that played in Little League with us. Like hardball. Well, we had a girl on my team. Pretty sure when I was in... Might have been Little League even. She was pretty good. Shortstop. Couldn't hit very well, but was an excellent defender. You should have been able to play baseball. I don't have any... That's the thing is, like, I don't have any problem, like, if you... Right, you were a woman, a biological female, you wanted to play Little League, I don't have any problem with that. A biological female going to compete against biological males is totally fine. You know what I mean? I don't have any problem with that. It just never happens that way. I was really happy to see Natasha in the Publica video Rumble this morning. I used to watch her weekly Rebel show that she did with Catherine. Yeah, she works for us. Like when I was in minor league, there were lots of girls on the teams. And I was in the Midwest. I wouldn't exactly call that like super super progressive. I just think it's predatory when you're like, now I will argue, I will agree that pool isn't as outwardly like, oh, there should be gender divisions, but men are generally taller, have longer reach. This shit matters in your shooting pool. How far you can reach across a pool table matters. I mean, there's stuff like this, right? So she quits. There's a biological man just broke this girl's face. Is it normal for girls to be able to jump 4 feet in the air and break someone's face?
I was severely injured in a high school volleyball game by a transgender athlete on the opposing team.
Not showing it.
But yeah, I just kind of couldn't match, Austin and some of the single track and, the power. It's just not comparable.
Look at this. That's a biological male for you. Ableist says, do you believe that Mark Lapine's father, Richard Elias Garby, should face jail for inciting polytechnique by driving him insane via child abuse, having his most... Whoa, I have no idea what you're referencing. Oh yeah, you guys don't see the video. Sorry, my bad. I'll go back here. We saw this, right? But look at this. It broke her face. I mean, I don't know about that, Ableist. Sorry, I'm unfamiliar with that story. It's every one of these like situations that get out of control are always biological men competing against biological women. If you're a biological woman and you want to compete, I mean, here's another one. And cycling couldn't. I mean, look at this crap. Biological man. Oh, whoops.
I think Raylan.
Yeah, I guess I haven't. I'll look at. Is that a meme? Are you joking with me?
These girls are getting right into it.
These girls. This is a man right here, by the way.
Oh, the knees, and that's it. Fallon Fox. Holy cow. Game over. Wow. And a quick finish to our first women's $20,000 championship tournament fight.
Biological man. Yeah, the lacrosse video, the girl gets her entire face broken.
Yeah, son.
I gave my all that match. I'm not gonna lie, these girls, they can wrestle.
6'2", weighing 100 kilos and blessed with a mighty kicking boot, she should have been a shoo-in to play at the elite level of the women's Aussie Rules competition.
It's a man. I mean, give me a break. That's a full-grown man out there competing against women. It's girls. A full-grown man competing against girls. Like, you tell me that that's not a predator. You tell me that that's not a predator.
With the return.
Fucking Tim. Scooped me. We've got some more news though.
It is dysphoria.
Let's change the topic. Let's have a little fun. Doobie doobie doo.
This is... I actually thought that was a trans woman at first myself. When I just saw the short of it.
Doobie doobie doo.
Unless it's like a Blair White. It has a man features in the face there.
You will all stare at this horrendous picture while I upload a file for Sydney. Doobie-doo. I know everyone says they don't watch Tim, and then like I upload a video that he uploaded earlier in the day and it completely tanks. I think it's because like just enough people won't watch it because they've seen Tim cover it that YouTube like buries it. You know, they don't send it out to my subs. I think that's probably part of it. That's probably... all right. Okie dokie. We all know that there's no shortage of like weirdos, predatory individuals on the internet. Okay. And normally when I cover something like this, it would be kind of just for the memes and kind of mocking it, because we know that Twitch, for example, is a cesspool of well, epic proportions. And this story is about a new meta. What is a meta? Well, essentially, it just is a trend. A meta in Twitch has been, you know, last year it was like the hot tub streams. And when people talk about the Twitch meta, maybe it's IRL streaming, maybe it's you know, eating fast food, or maybe it's like the cinnamon challenge, or maybe it's the you know, whatever, you know, playing Among Us, whatever's popular turns into a meta, turns into a trend. Well, one particular meta on the platform is predatory, in my opinion, and I want to share with why it's
Booby
yes,
shaking.
it's hilarious and pathetic, But it's also more sinister, and I hope that you'll hear me out on it because, you know, I don't see a lot of people sharing this part of it. Most people just look at these girls with their hanging their bobs out to get viewers, ha ha ha, slut, you know, or something like that you'll hear. But I think it's far more sinister, you know, than people understand. It's extremely predatory. I think it's gross. It's very borderline P word, I think. So there's a new meta on Twitch, which is essentially women not wearing their tops and cutting off the camera just above the areola is essentially what it is. Some of them even pathetically greasing their chest up to make it reflective. Okay. You see this, you know, pictures. I'm not even going to show the picture because, oh, okay, this one's okay. When they're live, it goes much lower than this. Okay. You see, Twitch is one of the net's top broadcasting platforms, filled with a wide array of live content that is just for everyone to enjoy. About everyone. However, some streamers have discovered certain strategies for optimizing their channels. Something called a meta. For example, Twitch became the subject of scrutiny in 2021 for the hot tub meta. The ASMR meta took over the site. Now, in both of these particular examples, it was scantily clad women targeting 12-year-old boys. Okay, that's the gross part about it. And I want to talk about that. So now there's this thing called the topless meta. You have this clip from December 8th from a streamer and a model, not even going to give them any clout, showing the creator seemingly standing fully, you know, unclothed in front of the camera. However, the camera cut off just above any sensitive bits, but many viewers feel they're going too far. So here's the shot. I mean, you're kidding me, right?
I feel
What is this meta?
And also, like,
You can even see they greased up their boobs so they could get better. They could get better glare, right? Now, of course, she isn't the only streamer participating in this. Other broadcasters have also joined with similar content, leaving commenters across social media baffled as to how its content hasn't been warranting a ban for violating the platform's community guidelines on spicy content. Twitch's guidelines on this type prohibit females presenting individuals from showing any nip unless they're actively feeding a child. Many viewers argue that these streamers are finding ways to skirt Twitch's guidelines. Now, of course, this person doesn't seem too bothered by the backlash, even poking fun at their fellow creators, but urging them to take part in it. Now, I want to tell you why this meta is gross, predatory, you know, and sick. Okay. Some people might say, yes, of course, not everybody is 12 years old on Twitch. I understand it. Sometimes I watch Twitch, right? There's two avenues here that I want to share with you. And by the way, if you agree or you disagree, don't forget that Christmas is right around the bend. Coffee Brand Coffee has, in my opinion, the best gift options on the internet. We have pre-built gift boxes, but we also have our super popular gift box builder where you can choose from about 30 different coffees, K-cups, ground, whole bean, 15 organic teas, real cacao cocos like peppermint hot cocoa, premium candy and snacks like chocolate-covered espresso beans, spicy and sweet treat mixes, kettle corn, peppermint bark. You can build your own personalized gift box. Promo code BESTGIFT. You only have about 7 more days to order to get it in time for Christmas. So I hope that you'll do so. Now, the reason that these metas work, the reason that I think they are gross is the following. So first and foremost, a lot of people will ask, why don't these women just go on to some website that does this kind of thing? I don't really know. I know there are many out there. Cam sites, right? Why don't they just do that? Or why doesn't Twitch just have an adult section? A section for this, right? Where you can have an age verification, this, that, and that, right? It's because these women know that they would get no attention in a sea of other women exposing themselves, right? That is the harsh reality. That is the truth, and that is what makes this predatory. If these women were just out there saying, "Oh, I want to be a normal, I want to be a, I want to sell my body on the internet just like everyone else," then they would be on those sites. They know that they're essentially surprise boobs on Twitch, a place where you're not used to seeing it, right? A place where you're not used to seeing it, suddenly you see it and it becomes extremely popular. That's the reason, like, that's the reason that these like ASMR streams, right? I mean, 45% of the viewers, nearly 50% of the viewers on Twitch are between the ages of 13 and 17. So 1 out of every 2 viewers that these women get are under 18 years old.
One that I'm not
just
sure
so we're
about.
clear. Okay. This is why I don't have a lot of time for this. You want to do this work? Fine. Keep it off Twitch. The reason it gets popular on Twitch is because it's full of children. It's full of children who create a pipeline. They are essentially grooming young viewers to get addicted to porn. That is what they're doing. It's not, haha, it's a meta, tee-hee, look at this weird thing, ha 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 ha. They know where they're going, has a 50% audience, 50% of the audience is under 17 years old. They go there, they put themselves out there like that because they know children will watch. Adults can find some 2 fried eggs hanging on a nail like that anywhere on the internet. I'm not going to Twitch if I'm trying to get the poison out, let's say. They are specifically there on Twitch for children. Okay? That is why I don't really believe this whole like, oh, it's just the meta, ha ha ha, it's just the meta, ha 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 ha. No, you know what you're doing. And that's why it's so nefarious. That's why these women doing this, like, they either know and are okay with it, which I suspect, or they're completely oblivious to it. And they're just like, oh wow, I go on and I just get a bunch of people addicted to my OnlyFans account. I suspect these women know. They know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly who their target audience is, and they go on Twitch to find them. Nobody would care about this woman on some cam site. She'd be one of a billion women selling themselves. They go on Twitch because they are groomers, in my opinion. Right? Teehee, it's harmless. Teehee, it's harmless. Oh, really? Then why are you selling, it's always a pipeline to their spicier content. What is the end goal of this individual streaming on Twitch? Ask yourself that. It's to get people to subscribe to their OnlyFans. That is the end goal. And you go to a pool that you know is full, nearly 50% of them under the age of 18, to sell these things. I mean, that'd be like going to a high school with porno mags and being like, well, some of the seniors are 18, so this isn't weird. Yeah, I know some of the freshmen are 13 years old, but there's teachers here too. Here's a high school full of people. There's teachers and custodians that can buy these. It's not like this funny thing to me. You know what I mean? It's not like this harmless thing to me because I know the level of thought that is going into this. They know by going on Twitch, they will find children who they can get addicted to their parasocial OnlyFans content. And it's disgusting. I don't condone it. You want to go on there and play video games and happen to mention you have an OF, I think that's fine. I accept that. But when you go and you do this crap, right? you show up and you're just, obviously there. I don't agree with it. And I don't think it's funny and harmless. I think it's predatory and gross. And, I think the longer that Twitch, I mean, I can't even show what's going on here. I can't show it on the screen, but it's like it's not just one woman doing it. It's bad enough that men are preyed on these platforms. Young men, boys getting addicted to, this type of content. People will say, "Oh, but it's there are 18-year-olds there too." Okay, cool. All right. When are you cool with your daughter seeing some guy's junk root? Everything but the tip. Are you cool with some guy showing that to your daughter? Oh, well, that's different. No, it's not. Now, some women might say, well, this is all the problem. Free the nipple. Okay, fine. That's a different argument. But that's not what these women are doing. That's not what these women are doing. They are targeting young men to sell them content that they shouldn't be watching, that they're not old enough for. And it's gross. And any attempt to pretend that these monsters aren't targeting young kids goes out the window when they're purposely putting this content on Twitch. They know who's watching it. Yes, some people are of age, sure, but most of them aren't. And it's, quite frankly, it's absolutely disgusting. I wanted to say dick root because, guys have a dick root if you're like thin enough, right? I don't have a lot of time for these creeps. And people act like 17-year-olds don't have debit cards. Of course they do. They have debit cards. They have Google Pay. They have Amazon Prime. It's different now. Dick root. It's called neck. Yeah, she's definitely not attractive in my opinion, but I don't really care. Some people, what the fuck, Like, does she's trying to make her tits look like someone came on them? Is that what this liquid is? I'm going to put some glycerine on my titties so they look like somebody just blew a load on them, and I'm going to go on Twitch. These kids all have PayPal, yep. I understand if you're a woman and you want to make the argument about freeing the nipple and that breasts aren't sexual, fine. That's a different argument. That's a different argument. The argument that women's breasts shouldn't be seen as sexual is destroyed by biological evolution. Look, I don't even want to go down that road. I mean, I like boobs. They're always going to be, sexual to me. And no amount of some feminist telling me they're not is going to convince me. But I mean, if you want to walk around with your tits out, that's on you. That's fine by me. I don't see my ball sack as sexual either. Can I wear shorts that just there's two little cutouts with one ball that hangs out at each side? I don't see my balls as sexual. They're just carrying a biological fluid. What are you, some kind of degenerate?
Got a point.
Stop sexualizing my ball sack, women. Free the balls. Yeah. Free the balls. Stop oppressing my balls. Stop, guys, stop. Ladies, stop telling me what I can and can't do with my balls. I want to show them off to kids. I don't think my balls are sexual, so I'm going to go across the park, to a park bench across from an elementary school and just let my balls hang out. They're getting lower now, too. I'm 40. I could probably get away with just some gym shorts. I could pull my sack through one side, just let it hang there. I don't think it's sexual. Things always get really like things, things always a good your balls, you're right. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I think a lot of this stuff gets really clarified when you put a man into the situation. You know what I mean? Oh, it's just boobs, no big deal. Okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna set the camera to where you just see my dick root, and you don't see the head of my dick, but your daughter's gonna tune into that on a live gaming stream. Do you still feel the same? Every single time. A better example is the hypocrisy around female rapists. Okay, these teachers that are having sex with their students are pedophiles. Or hebophiles. Is it hebophile? Is that the correct one? They are rapists. They are predators. But men are always like, oh, nice. Nice. But the second if the man's good looking and he has sex with a 14-year-old student, the men are all like, get the wood chipper. Get the wood chipper. Everyone get the wood chipper. He's a predator and a pedophile. Oh, it's a woman? Nice. Nice. I gotta let the cat out. All right, I'm coming. Beep, 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 beep. Oh my God, did you hear about this teacher? Did you hear about this teacher? Daniel? Professor Daniel slept with an 8th grader. Oh my God, get the wood chipper. Oh wait, I read that wrong. It's Danielle. Oh, nice. Nice. Danielle, you said? Oh, nice. Do you have a picture? What's she look like? What's she look like? If she's moderately attractive, I think this is okay. If she's overweight and gross, I think she should go to prison. Yeah, old women at the bowling alley feeling them on my husband's arms. And it's supposed to just be normal, but if old man came up and touched me and rubbed my arms, it would be so weird. Exactly. Yeah, Jeremy knows the rules. Yep, I do. Those are the rules. I don't make them. King of Biltong is here. Good afternoon from Anton's in Roanoke, Texas. Free shipping for your Biltong using code THEQ on landofbiltong.com and AntonUSA.com. Some listeners are now return shoppers. Thanks for the support. That's right. I enjoy the product as well. Is she cute? Nice. Oh my God, she's overweight and unattractive. Rapist! I don't make the rules. I'm just articulating them. I'm just letting you know the rules so you know how to react about rape. Doobie doobie doo. Doobie doobie doo. Doobie doobie doo. Dibba dibba doo. Dibba dibba doo. Dibba 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 doo. Something's fucked up with Rumble right now. I know is Rumble like, yeah, normally I'd have like 4,000 people here right now. I don't know if I have 4,000 people here, but like Rumble, it's working for me. So I don't know. Yeah, Rumble's really got to get that under control, you know? Doobie doobie doo. Shout out to everyone who's watching over on Locals.
We do. Yeah, there is a lot.
If you want to watch
Rumble
Locals,
is acting
participate
weird.
in the Locals chat.
I
Here's
can't
the
get
link
it to pull up.
I like to see.
On
I
remote.
have both chats up. That's right. The prize link is not up. You are correct.
There's Rob's email from last week.
What is going on, everybody? I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful Monday. You're probably not. It's Monday. In the history of all time, I'm guessing that the least likely day to be having an awesome day is probably Monday. But I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate you supporting the channel. I really do. And I appreciate everyone who is watching my daily live streams over at Rumble. Absolutely crushing it over there. If you're not following me on Rumble, I'm not asking you to leave YouTube. Just asking you to tune into my live show at rumble.com/C as in Charlie /the quartering. We all know that Disney loves feminism. Disney absolutely loves the women. And who doesn't? I love women. Leave a like on this video right now if you love women. Congratulations, I tricked you. You're a feminist. No, I'm kidding. Leave a like on there, please. Well, Disney loves to virtue signal about how important women are and all the things that they do to help women. Okay? I get it. I get it. You're Disney. You love the women. You're very stunning and diverse. Well, it turns out you've been screwing over the women at your company for years. In fact, you're being sued by 9,000 women. Absolutely 2 million, though. Hilarious.
Jared.
Things just keep getting worse for Disney. And you know, like, I don't
2
even
million,
know, like,
about 3
how
weeks
they're going to
left.
come out of, this lawsuit or whatever isn't going to bankrupt them, right? But, I mean, it's the whole picture, right? If it's just the whole picture. We look at Disney stock today. Of course, that is not doing very well, although for 5 days, okay, so it's about even. Over the last month, they've given up almost everything they gained. But, again, they're still way, way down. 9,000 women. You know what those 9,000 women, here's what Disney can give them, is a sweet coffee brand coffee gift box for Christmas. I recommend using our awesome gift box builder to really personalize that gift box. There's only 14 days till Christmas and really only like 7 or 8 shopping days. We sell out of these gift boxes every single holiday, so I don't want you to wait. Promo code BESTGIFT and you'll save 10% too. Only while supplies last. Link in the description below. A judge on Friday certified a class action lawsuit that claims Disney paid 9,000 women less than their male counterparts. I don't even know. I mean, that does not sound like Disney to me. It simply does not sound like Disney to me. Disney is stunning and brave. Disney absolutely loves women. They put them in the lead role of every movie they make. They replace every man they possibly can. Now it turns out they've been doing it because it's cheaper. The suit is the largest ever certified under California's Equal Pay Act, which makes it illegal for workers to be paid less for substantially similar work based on their gender. And that should be illegal. Lori Andrus, the plaintiff's attorney, applauded the ruling outside of the courtroom in downtown LA. Quote, Disney has been gaslighting these women for 4 years, she said. They love their jobs. They love the brand, but they want to be respected and treated in a way that they should be in the workplace. Disney expressed disappointment in a written statement. Quote, we are disappointed with the court's ruling as to the Equal Pay Act claims and are considering our options. Well, that does not sound very progressive. That does not sound like they love women as much as we do. What's interesting to me is I never really understood the suing your employer thing. I just get another job. Well, I get suing them, let's say if you got hurt on the job or something like that. That makes sense. You get hurt on the job or your boss is putting their hands on you or you have some sort of unsafe working conditions. But if you just want to get a raise, don't you think that suing your employer probably is going to limit your upward mobility in the company? I just feel like you're never going to make it very high in the corporate structure of a company if you sue them. Now, I'm not saying they don't have every right, but this seems very frivolous to me. This seems like, hey, ladies, you want to sign on to this thing to get some free money? The only people that are going to get money from this, by the way, are their attorneys. The judge rejected Disney's arguments that the case was so sprawling as to unmanageable. Disney's attorney, Felicia, another woman, Davis argued that the plaintiffs are seeking to compare salaries across thousands of job groups, which reflect the decentralized decisions of thousands of managers. The class includes female Disney employees who have worked for the company in California since April 1st, 2015, in a non-union position below the level of vice president, who have been assigned to a job family and level. It covers employees from Disneyland hotels and theme parks to the cruise line and Disney film and TV studios. Oh, by the way, over 9,000. I can't even believe I missed that joke. Davis argued that just because two employees are in the same job family and level does not mean their work is substantially similar. She rattled off a long list of job titles: music producers, pastry chefs, nurses, architects, ride engineers, visual effects directors, security dog handlers, and Star Wars social media managers, to argue that the class members were too diverse to merit certification. These are different segments, different business areas, and different locations, she said. They report to different managers. They are in completely different industries, which pay completely differently. Davis argued that Disney will have to put on a massively complex defense at trial in order to show that any disparities were the result of allowable factors such as education, training, and experience. Well, you just hate to see it, don't you? I know it's going to be horrendous, Barrow said in a lightly mocking tone, challenging the argument that there is no efficient way to establish pay disparities across large groups. You're telling me Disney has no system of categorizing pay grade levels? Both sides have retained experts to prove or disprove a gender pay gap. Andrew says the starting pay across the class is a whole 2% lower for women than men. 2%? If you make $20 an hour, that's 40 cents. You're suing for this? I get the feeling that some law firm drummed this up. Some law firm was probably like, this seems like a absolute ridiculous lawsuit. And then you see Andrus was also pursuing a parallel claim under the state's Fair Employment and Housing Act, which would cover a broader group of 12,000 women. This sounds like the law firm is just an ambulance chaser, and they make all their money doing this crap, recruiting people. Now, I think it's hilarious. I think it's hilarious. To me, this seems probably like a ambulance chaser lawsuit. And yeah, most people will get a $25 gift card. The law firm will make $6 million, but the people that are filing this lawsuit, they'll make the real money. This on top of course, woke Disney admitting, quote, misalignment between its movies and what viewers want is harming their bottom line. After progressive Snow White reboot was pushed back for huge overhaul. I mean, Disney's been having some tough times. Disney can't feel the love at the box office, and there's a reason why. This is a brand new article, talking about, 100 years is a pretty good run. You say Disney is among the woke mega companies that have forgotten their mission. Disney indicts its woke self with founders' own words in newly published book. Struggling Disney hints its woke politics presents risks to our reputation and brands. This is a decision. This is a decision that Disney, willingly made. That they willingly made. So I don't really know that I exactly feel that bad for them. In fact, I feel 0% bad for them. I feel not bad at all. I think it's hilarious. But this is a company that, keeps telling us the force is female. Well, it turns out that they were underpaying them all, allegedly. 2%. Now, this lawsuit will cost millions of dollars to defend for Disney. And it just seems that there's essentially, when I'm looking at it, it feels like there's just blood in the water, right? Like there's just blood in the water here, and people, people are pouncing. That's kind of exactly what it is. Disney's weak right now. People are pouncing on them, taking them to the cleaners, and I don't even care. Get woke.
Rumble's having issues
bro.
right now.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like on it. We'll talk to you again real soon. I need to do a couple videos today. I have chemo tomorrow. Oh shit, Jammer. Hope that goes well. They got sued by over 9,000. I wanted to pull this up. Ba 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 ba. Got a couple more
I can't
videos
even get
for
Rumble
y'all.
to open right now.
If you're still out there. Yeah, Rumble's all over the place today. It's frustrating as a creator. It always seems to be happening during my streams. But, I know that's obviously, like, not on purpose. You know what I mean? Da, 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 da. What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful day. It's always wonderful when we get to dunk on Netflix, right? Like, Netflix is one of the dumbest organizations on the planet. I don't really understand how in the HE double toothpicks they make money, but apparently they do. And quite frankly, with the level of pandering, wokeness, degeneracy, race swapping, I think that they're kind of pressing their luck a little bit. I will say this, of all the streaming platforms out there, Netflix is basically the only one that I can think of that isn't losing billions of dollars, which I suppose is a win for them. But this latest race swap is absolutely, positively one of the most hilarious things I've seen. And we're talking about a company that has race swapped Cleopatra, that has race swapped Anne Boleyn, or is that BBC? Somebody made Anne Boleyn black. I feel like it's either Netflix. When we're talking about legendary race swaps, it's either the BBC or Netflix. BBC recently race swapped Isaac Newton into a black man, I believe. This is one of the most hilarious. And we're going to get into that after a super quick word from this video sponsor, Private Internet Access. Now, if you don't have your VPN yet, now is the time to get one. Netflix, by the way, this is another excellent report from the Publica. This is my news company that I run with Sydney Watson and many others. If you're wondering, obviously we're available at thepublica.com. We have excellent articles, but we also have a Rumble and YouTube channel. If you haven't yet, subscribed, all of our videos go up here. You can see I do videos, Sydney does videos, our staff does videos. So yeah, we've been kind of quietly building that over some time. Here's another great article. Netflix accused of race swapping after replacing investigators who took down Purdue Pharma during opioid crisis with a fictional black woman. You can't, it's just so good. Every bit about this is so good. Here's the actual investigators, and here's the black woman with dreadlocks that they replaced them with. Again, to be clear, especially to my black viewers, it's not that the character's black, and you know that. It's that they are a real character that exists in real life, and they race swap them for no reason other than pandering. You want to talk about a fictional character getting race swapped? I think that's a different conversation, okay? They want to make the new Thor, well, that's a little worse example, but Spider-Man, you want to do the Miles Morales argument? Okay, fine. But these are real people that existed, are still alive today, and you have replaced them with a black woman with dreads. This is absolute panderverse. Netflix is once again under fire for race swapping following the release of their new series Painkiller, a dramatized retelling of a massive lawsuit filed against Purdue Pharma over opioid manufacturing. In the series, the investigators who took down the company are erased and instead depicted by a fictional black woman. The companion website to Netflix, describes the plot of the suspenseful drama as being, quote, inspired by true events and people. Following the victims and perpetrators for those whose lives have been altered by Purdue Pharma. In this series, actress Uza Aduba plays Eddie Flowers with 2 L's, that's weird, an investigator determined to bring the case against Purdue and hold those responsible for the opioid epidemic accountable. Audience response to the series has been lackluster, with a Rotten Tomatoes score of 61 and an even lower official Tomato Meter score of 51, stating that the show honors the victims of the opioid crisis with effective dramatic beats, but is undermined by its stale satirical flourishes, resulting in a tonally confused bit of muckraking. One social media user made the point to highlight that although the show is based on real events surrounding the conspiracies of Purdue Pharma and the Sackler family, the creators failed to represent some of the investigators who were actually at the heart of the case, instead replacing the real figures with a singular black female character. I'm sure there are great black female investigators doing great work in law enforcement. I know there are because I can't remember the one woman's name. She's probably long retired, but the First 48 is one of my all-time favorite shows, and there was like Shalacy, and then there was the black woman who was a detective that was really awesome too. And I can't think of her name, but anyway, it's not like we need fictional representation. I know there are great black women and black men doing great investigative work. Saw a preview for Netflix's show Painkiller about Purdue Pharma And notice the story's intrepid, wily hero Eddie Flowers is a black girl boss Fed prosecutor who single-handedly takes down the Sackler family. I thought it was weird that I'd never heard of this person, and that she's not more prominent public figure since she perfectly ticks every lib fantasy box-strutting, cunning, courageous, sassy, who outsmarts her big pharma antagonist. But of course, when I looked it up, it turns out Eddie Flowers isn't real. They just made her up. I mean, what a great... I mean, does it get any more hilarious than this? Another user writes, quote, it's contrived, predictable, and boring at this stage. Almost every new American TV series or movie with a character that is a judge, mayor, chief of police, head of the FBI will have a black woman in that role. It doesn't reflect the diversity of real life in any way. Another describes Eddie Flowers' character as, quote, the most unlikable character I've seen on a TV show in a while. She's unpleasant to every person she interacts with. Well, that's the girl boss persona.
Yeah, Rumble
According
is
to
down right
Screen
now.
Rant, the decision to erase the real investigators and substitute a fictional character was, quote, for the sake of their story. What? You robbed them of their credit for this. And that the creators of the show, quote, needed to ensure that the hero of the television series had one singular face, as where Aduba and Eddie came in. What? I think I can handle two protagonists. I'm pretty sure I could. In an interview with Tadum, Aduba said the world of Eddie Flowers, who is a fictitious person, but has a composite of the number of investigators, except she's black and a woman anyway, runs alongside the very real Richard Sackler. Having those points of interaction where two worlds come together was incredibly impactful and powerful. Here's the picture of the real investigators. 3 white people. And as we know, as everybody knows, that is inherently incorrect. That is inherently incorrect. That is a problem that needs to be fixed. And that is what race swapping does. It is inherently a problem if you're white and successful to Netflix. They think that if they highlighted the actual people that did this, that would somehow be some sort of slight to black people, which is absurd. Of course it isn't. Of course it isn't.
I'm going to try and get locals up.
Despite their hard work and incredible team effort in the fight
Haven't
against
done a
Purdue
local stream.
Pharma, the creators of the show did not include anybody from the original story in the movie. Audiences have become increasingly frustrated with entertainment companies and outlets that continue to race swap and gender swap characters, with many of them lamenting these characters are empty, vapid, and lack proper character development, making them completely unrelatable. In 2022, the streaming service lost almost 1 million subscribers, the largest decline since 2011. They've gained back subscribers following a crackdown on password sharing, but they reported an $18 billion loss in value last July. I don't know when they're going to get this. By the way, shout out to thepublica.com. Put that on your daily check. When you want to see what's going on in the world, we're adding more staff. We're putting up articles more often. We're working on fixing a lot of the little bugs that people have with the website. You see, of course, the Denzel Washington to play Carthaginian. I can't even say this word. I talked about the Hannibal one. But anyway, yeah, we've got new articles coming out every day. Obviously, we have new videos 3-4 times a week. So we're on Rumble. We're also on YouTube. Check that out. But, this isn't the first time Netflix did this. Netflix, they race swap people all the time. They literally can't help themselves. They get off on it. That's fine. I just won't watch. And hopefully the 3% of people that they're pandering to can maintain them. That's, if you care so much about black representation or LGBTQ representation, that's cool. If you think that matters so much, I hope they can support your company. I hope that every LGBTQ person out there can sign up 10 times, because that's the only people you're making content for now. And that's fine by me. It's another $15 a month in my pocket. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon. I don't even know. Like, the Netflix race swap thing is such a meme now. It's such a meme that, like, I don't even know how to, like, what do I even do? Let me archive this quick. All right. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Don't work harder, work smarter. Stream/record videos. Exactly. That is what I do, my friend. You know what's weird is I noticed that archive.is does not work inside of Brave. Wonder why that is. You should work with Rumble or create your own streaming company that's dedicated to streaming games without the porn chicks. I don't have anywhere near enough money for that. Jeff Bezos can barely make it work. I know Rumble's having some problems today, but, you know, I've got a job to do, and so I just keep grinding, you know? I've got a job to do. I've got a job to do. Archive.ph didn't work either. It works in other browsers, just not in Brave. That's a weird thing. It works in Chrome and other stuff. Anyway, I don't need this article for it. You know, it's we have a new female juicy sommelier. I don't really know. I guess it's not necessarily the same thing, but over the last couple of days, I've been following a story of a individual, a decorated Navy vet, I believe, who showed up to Martin Luther King's birth home and tried burning it down. Now, what's interesting about this is it was at least a possibility here of a foiled fake hate crime. These are things that actually happen far more than you think. I mean, the world knows about Juicy Sommelier, right? Well, they know about Jussie Smollett, and he faked it. But it's super common. Even the Wall Street Journal wrote an article about it, saying hate crime hoaxes are more common than you think. A political scientist found that fewer in 1 in 3 out of 346 such claims is even genuine. It's said another way, 67% of all reported hate crimes are lies. 67%. Even the Wall Street Journal printed this. You're going to see this kind of stuff going on more and more as we lead up to the 2024 election. And that's what's scary about this. Between AI rapidly outpacing our ability to detect it, between, you know, hoaxes and misinformation, just imagine what would have happened in the streets if they didn't apprehend this individual. And by the way, they're black and a woman. Just saying. And when you get out there and you say, wow, that, I don't know. Remember when Juicy Sommelier came out there and said, you know, he said all this stuff happened to him, and anyone who said like, I don't know about all that. I don't know. They called you racist. They called you conspiracy theorist. They banned you from platforms. A woman attempted to burn down Martin Luther King Jr.'s birth home, arriving with a gas canister and dousing the historic property in fuel on Thursday. Video of the brazen attempt shows a woman dressed in all black freely pouring gasoline on the home's front porch, windows, and bushes at 5:45 p.m. 2 tourists from Utah viewing the home were able to intervene and stop the suspect. One witness recalled the suspect began to grow irritated after she was having trouble spreading the fuel around the property. By the way, I don't know if you've ever burned anything, but it's extremely easy to combine gasoline and a flame to make fire. I can't, and this was going on in broad daylight, but they were dressed in all black. The whole thing is so bizarre to me. So bizarre. The suspected arsonist was quickly detained by 2 off-duty police, NYPD police officers, who had been visiting the historical landmark and held her until Atlanta PD arrived. Wow, there must be a lot of people around this house. The off-duty officers jumped on the suspect after she pulled out a lighter and attempted to light it. What's crazy is, like, what's so wild about this is, like, if you've ever been around, like, gasoline, right? Like, you don't need a lot of help to get that stuff to light up. The suspect, 26, has been charged with the criminal attempt arson, the criminal attempted interference with government property. Police have not released her name. The action saved an important part of American history tonight, Atlanta Police Chief Darian Schreierbaum told the news. Atlanta Fire Department Battalion Chief Jerry DeBerry, revealed that the house could have burned down in moments if not for the witness stepping in. Of course. It could have been a matter of seconds before the house was engulfed in flames. The Atlanta Police Department said it's working with the District Attorney's Office, U.S. Attorney's Office, and the Bureau of ATF investigating the attempted arson. The home is in the care of the National Park Service, which acquired the property from the King family back in 2018, has been closed to tourists since November because of ongoing renovations. Like, shout out to the Good Samaritans, by the way. Like, huge shout out to the Good Samaritans, but this is concerning because this is if you look at the individual that did it, you see hate hoax failed, ? Black woman arrested for attempting to set MLK Jr.'s birth home on fire. I mean, here's the video. Look at this. They're filming them walking around just pouring gas. By the way, at any moment, like this person's an idiot. Right now, you could put that can down on the porch, light a match, or just do a little trail away from it and light it, and your job would be done. It was like they wanted to get caught. I don't really understand. And like, there are a lot of questions around this. Like, think about, the potential fiery but mostly peaceful protests that would have happened. This person, this dumb whatever, aka Lanisha Sean Trice Henderson, was just arrested after she tried to burn down MLK Jr.'s home. She was dousing the outside with gasoline when 2 tourists stopped her. Do you think she's mentally ill or pulling a juicy sommelier? Oh, here's some more of the video.
What are you doing? What are you doing? No, that's gasoline.
What do you think that's soap? It's a gas can.
Some type of direction? Or you just felt like this is what you needed to do? Okay, Cherokee War Chief, what on the earth does that have to do with an MLK?
Same mentality, okay? And that's why he's putting you in a position in which you can still breathe.
They're on their way.
But you're...
Nobody's trying to hurt you. We just want to make sure that...
By the way, thankfully, that people that apprehended her were also black. Like everything about this was set up as a powder keg. Essentially. An absolute powder keg.
House, nothing happens to it. And...
Are you comfortable, young lady? Looking at this crib. Okay, as long as you can breathe and you're comfortable. Very cool to see vehicles.
Well, it seems like they didn't know the address. Here they come. Me and him were looking at the house, just checking it out. We're not from here. And she came up behind us, had a gas can. And at first she just seemed like she was kind of...
Weird. Very weird. If that place had burned down that day, you might as well just let Atlanta go with it. Now, I mean, people are going to guess all sorts of things. I don't know
White man
you know, was somebody paying her to do it to incite bad behavior? In my
Definitely a
opinion,
white guy.
okay, this is where I live with Occam's razor. Do we all know what that means, right?
Most obvious.
The most likely reason is, you know, solution is the answer type of thing. Mental illness in this country, especially post-lockdown, has never been worse. Mental health has never been worse. And, you know, I think that, you know, ultimately, this is probably just a crazy person, but you never really know. It's like when all these idiots that go into schools and do the terrible things, right? Every single one of them's deranged mentally, but the left and the right want to make it about, you know, AR-15s instead of mental health, which is really what it is. You know, I think that you have a black female here in broad daylight who is a military veteran. I just don't know. This whole thing kind of stinks. But if you really wanted to get away with it, wouldn't you have gone in the middle of the night? You know, if she's a veteran, what happened to her want to burn down MLK's childhood home? If so, the United States continues in filling and supporting our military's veterans' mental illness. I would suspect that there's something, you know, you have a mental issue here, but the story is really like, holy smokes, like if she had lit this place up and walked away from it, and let's say they didn't know, and they didn't know who did it, it would be a potential massive disaster. You know, it's so weird. It's so weird to me. Was it going to be? Were they trying to commit some sort of hate hoax? I don't know. You know, usually when you talk about somebody who has mental illness, it can be a combination of things. You know, I think that, you know, the military is certainly woke these days. Is this some, you know, did she get radicalized into BLM and thinking, oh, okay, well, if I burn this down, then, you know, we're going to get more racial uprisings? Or is she just a run-of-the-mill crazy person? Or is it, you know, people identify crazy people and then mold them into, you know, get them to do them, you know, get them to do things? I don't know. This one, you're going to have to let me know what you think is going on here. Run-of-the-mill crazy person or hate hoax foiled? I don't know. It's a wild story. But hopefully we'll find out more about it, but I suspect we never will. Jammer says, blames his followers for the military going woke. Notice she's ex-military. Wait, what? Wait, you're not talking about me, are you? I can't believe with today's gas prices, I would have thought she would have chose something more affordable. Oh, no, her. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Paid operative, but then why show up in broad daylight? Like, if you were actually trying to get away with it, why would you show up in broad daylight? And also, like, what's wild to me is that, like, if you wanted to get away with it, I mean, no one's stopping you from lighting it. Like, they were already standing that far back, and she was spraying gas all over the building. She could have just lit it right there. The whole thing is weird. Like, you spray the gas, you leave it, you pour, you back up. You've got a trail, you take your lighter, boosh, house is gone. There's some reason that she couldn't get her, you know, maybe she's on drugs. Someone said, yo, I'll give you another crack rock if you go burn this house down. I don't know. She seemed like she was kind of out of it to me, right? Who spreads gas like that anyway? She's walking in it. She definitely had some crazy eyes.
This is what you needed to do.
Like she's
Cherokee War Chief, what on the earth does that have to do with an MLK?
What is this? What does she say here?
Or you just felt like this is what you needed to do?
Right here.
Okay, Cherokee War Chief.
Cherokee Warchi? What is that? What is she even saying there? Cherokee War Chief. Oh.
Needed to do. Okay, Cherokee War Chief, what on the earth does that have to do with an MLK?
So she says something about a Cherokee War Chief. So she's just some deranged individual suffering mental health issues. Weird. That is weird. Weird, weird. Weird, weird. Oh, maybe she's saying the house was on stolen Cherokee land?
Cherokees in Atlanta?
She's trying to preheat the house to 375. Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, that's all of our stories for today. It was a lot of them. There's a lot of news going on. And I leave you with, make sure to get your gift boxes from coffeebrandcoffee.com. Head on over to coffeebrandcoffee.com. Shop the gift box section. Promo code BESTGIFT to save. You only have 14 days till Christmas. If you enjoy my work here, check out my news channel, The Publica, where I work with Sydney Watson and a full team of people to cover various news stories, various, Sarah Fields. We have a full investigative staff. So I hope that you'll check that out. And we'll see you in 22 hours. Stay smelling good. Stay safe. Stay happy. Go Pack, go. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
You're still streaming on? You gonna stay on? There's some issues here. Oh, never mind. Rumble as a whole is not doing well. I don't even know if I'm on Rumble right now. I can't even go to the Rumble homepage. Yes. Weird. Very weird. Let's try to set up a local stream with that crash too. Yeah, look at Rumble. Huh. All right, let's find this Spaces. I gotta go pee. Be right back. Damn brain. Buy more food and ammo. So find the spaces from yesterday.
A lot of people forget about this, but on September 5th, 2018, Alex and I went to the congressional hearing on big tech censorship together. And, oh, he just texted me. He said he's locked out. So, I wonder how he can do this.
Yeah, that's very weird. Make sure no one has him blocked, by the way, guys. That's Zev. Make sure you don't have Zev. You weren't even on Twitter when.
That's interesting. But we attended the congressional hearing on big tech censorship when Jack Dorsey was testifying, and I just want to remind everybody that this was back when. Okay, so he said, sorry, he said
he's joining now.
Chase Geyser. He said Chase Geyser is going to let him use his account, so you need to make Chase Geyser a speaker because that's the account Alex will be using, since he said that he can't do a space from his account. So just make Chase Geyser a speaker, Mario.
Yeah, we'll
not watch him get banned for a bit like a account evasion or whatever.
Yeah. So you were saying, what were you saying, Laura?
So what I was saying is that this was in 2018 in September. So mind you, Republicans still had control of the House and the Senate, and Trump was in the White House. And so you had a Republican-controlled House Oversight Committee, and this actually was my pinned tweet, and I'll send you, I'll put it in the nest so everyone can see it. But I called Jack Dorsey out. This is when I stood up and I said, you're lying, you're censoring conservatives, you censored me, you censored Alex Jones, James O'Keefe, and you're trying to steal the election. And I warned the Republicans of what was going to happen. Literally the very next day after that hearing, right? Alex and I chased Jack Dorsey out of Congress. It's literally on video. And there was this iconic photo. It's actually his Twitter banner photo right now. And you can see Alex like screaming at Jack Dorsey. And then you see me with my pink selfie stick. The very next day, Alex was permanently banned from Twitter. And so was the InfoWars account. And so just the fact that, we have been dealing with this level of persecution together for so many years, we were really the canaries in the coal mine. And Alex has had me on his show many times when I said that I'm the most censored woman in America. He's probably the most censored.
So we've got the most censored men and women on stage.
Yeah.
So it's a testament to what Alex has achieved.
That's right.
Yes, we can, Alex.
Let's go.
It is. Alex, welcome to X. How are you?
Thanks for having me. Just so I don't get in trouble with Chase Geyser, doesn't get in trouble, so I'm really trying to follow all the rules so they can't try to get me off with all the complaints that the woke thought police engaged in. Chase Geyser works here at InfoWars. He's co-hosting with me tonight on my regular show at InfoWars, and so I've been very happy to come on. I know this is the biggest, or one of the biggest spaces here on Twitter, so I'm very honored to be here. And then I've been frantically trying to get on, but I think the code hasn't propagated yet. I'm not an IT guy. I think the code hasn't propagated because I'm still locked out of a lot of features and a lot of things, and I was unable to get verified today until Jack Dorsey called some folks he knew at Twitter, and they were able to even allow me to get on the Twitter. So I'm here, and as soon as they fix that glitch, I'll be glad to call in from my phone. But for now, I'm with Chase Geyser.
Yeah, and we've just got Jack up on stage as well. He just came up now. So Jack, we appreciate you trying to fix. So what happens, Alex, when you try to join the space from your account? You can't see the space, or it doesn't allow you to join.
Wow.
Did you hear me, Alex? What happens? So when you try to join, does it just not show the space, or you can't click and join?
No, it lets me begin to join, and then it sent me an error message saying your account is banned. I have a screenshot of it.
Oh, wow. Okay. It could be just technical. Well, first question that I have for you, we've got a pretty incredible panel. A lot of people that you probably know. We're going to go to the panel in a bit as well for questions. But You know, first I want to applaud you for coming here. You could have gone anywhere, but you came on a platform that, you know, we ask the hard questions. We always try to represent all sides of every discussion and avoid echo chambers. And that was the first place you came on as you got reinstated on X. So I want to applaud that step. First question I have for you. How does it feel to be back?
Well, I've got to say,
I'll be right back.
it's not about me. It's about everybody having the courage to stand up for free speech, particularly Elon Musk, Tucker Carlson, and others. And because when we put up with somebody else being censored for whatever reason the media says, or whether something they said that was wrong or something that hurts our feelings, when we censor somebody else or go along with it, we end up censoring everybody else, including ourselves. So I want to applaud everybody for after 5-6 years of this nightmare, for waking up to the truth of what's really going on. And it's what's very exciting. I feel like the tide has really turned, and I'm not just seeing this, here in cyberspace on Twitter, which has obviously exploded and just is dominating while the old big tech dinosaurs die, because they are like Pravda in the old Soviet Union. So it's very, very exciting to be part of history. But really, this isn't about me. This is about the public recognizing that the process that was used to demonize me, misrepresent what I said and did, and then silence me and then build straw men. Once they silence you off all major platforms, they're able to then steal your identity and then turn you into something you weren't, with edited clips and out of context stuff. And now even everybody's experiencing it as prominent with these deep fakes. So that's why it's so important that everybody have a voice, even if we disagree with them, because we need to hear what they actually have to say in real time, especially in this so connected world, because this is the real discrimination of the future with these social credit scores and AI systems, is using excuses to block humans off the web, but then giving bots free reign. That's another visionary thing that Elon Musk has done, is declare war on the bots, declare war on robots that are stealing identities and masquerading as humans. That's really critical.
So one thing I did in a post today, and I think Tucker was the first one to do this, and not only calling you the most censored man on the planet, he said that you were, I think, the first major personality to be censored by big tech. And he told the story on how Tim Cook had a meeting with other platforms in 2017, end of 2017, and they made the decision to censor you not only from social media platforms, but that included your bank account, that included everything. Can you tell us more about the platforms that censored you, the excuse that they gave, and the experience that you went through?
Absolutely. I think that was back in August of 2017, 18. I don't remember the exact date, but it was in August. And I normally get up at about 4 a.m. So I got up, got a cup of coffee, turned the computer on, and I had hundreds of messages saying it was just announced you were banned. And Tim Cook said, yeah, we had our weekend meeting, and I met with the other heads of big tech. We decided to curate like it's a museum, and I'm a museum piece that he just took out and put something else in there, a nice word for liquidating. And then they really didn't have excuses for why they did it. They used some really, really strange excuses. That I was rude to a CNN reporter, Oliver Darcy, and that I'd also beat up a child in Missouri because the guy looked like me, but it was on ABC News. It was just really, really, really flimsy reasons. And then I was taken off. We lost most of our software that we were already paying for. We lost our shopping cart software. We lost the sub software. We lost LinkedIn. We lost over 100 things. And then we lost our banking. We lost our credit card processor. We lost over 100 things in the next week or two. And it was really, really intense. And then they had, we later learned, I'm not going to say names, we're going to get into it because that's what they want attention, but we learned there was a big, powerful New York PR firm that actually does the PR for the UN and also for some of the CIA operations. And that's really what we're talking about here. That's all come out in Congress now. And then they went and dredged up stuff in my timeline out of context, blew it up times a million, and then said that I was currently doing things I'd never done. Just outrageous.
This Jackson Hinkle, I don't like
never
him.
Proof, never a clip, never a video, never anything. And so, other than like 3-second clips out of context. So I was unable to defend myself. And so they were able to then create this new Alex Jones. But then I was very blessed over the next 5 years. The public really on their own, because they kept demonizing, kept attacking, sometimes thousands of articles a week, hundreds of TV programs a week. I'm not exaggerating. I mean, AP articles syndicated in every newspaper in the country at least once a week, and Daily Mail attack pieces every week. Just thousands and thousands and thousands of articles. Like I was a third world country they were about to invade. There was that much propaganda, but it wasn't they were really that scared of me. They knew, in documents that later came out, that once they used me as a training tool, like a chew toy for attack dogs, that once the public got scared and didn't defend me and self-censored and didn't promote me, then they could move on to everybody else. So I was simply the first big domino to fall. And then once they did that, they were able to take the whole thing over. And since then, I mean, they had NATO summits 5 years ago saying, we got Alex Jones, and now we're going to get everybody. We're going to basically shut down left, right, everybody. We're going to bring in total control. The internet will soon be like Netflix. There'll only be approved channels and approved programs. These are quotes. And so I was there on still some talk radio stations on my own website, Infowars.com, desperately trying to explain, look, they're having congressional hearings about AI censoring people. They're having EU and NATO meetings. Here are the documents, here are the videos. And they were so confident then because no one was talking about it in cyberspace. And it was just little pockets talking about it. So they got away with it. But then they got so arrogant with the Hunter Biden laptop and with what we saw in the build up to 2020 and after that. And then they censored so many tens of millions of people, really more than that, and removed billions of posts on questioning COVID origins or questioning the Libya pullout or questioning open borders, that it just infuriated the public because they went too far. And then people went back and said, oh, well, what happened to Alex Jones? And so they basically dug me up, exhumed me and did a autopsy and found out that I was just the first test subject. And so quite frankly, I'm just very honored for everybody's support and people seeing through this. I'm certainly not perfect, but 99% of what people hear about me is not true. It's the same thing they do to Elon, where he says nice things, and then they lie and say, Elon Musk just said this. And then you spend an hour trying to find where he actually said what he said, and you finally find it, and it's the opposite. And so I'm telling you, folks, that's what they do. They completely twist everything. And I think so many people got a large serving of what I had that there was a lot of camaraderie. And quite frankly, everybody are veterans. No one calls victims, but we're veterans of real information war now. We've all had a real chance to experience it. And so it's a major tide turning point. I know that like a poison battery, they charged me up with so much negativity, such a straw man lie, such a horrible, terrible demon that Elon knew that if he brought me back early, I think that would have been too far because the public wasn't educated yet, and he had to free the rest of the captives first. But I think as more evidence came out, he made that bold move because it's really a fuck you. Just like you said a few weeks ago at the New York Times, that these people are, there's never enough censorship. You never can bend enough to them. You never can compromise with them. They never compromise with us. So you finally reach that, well, fuck you moment. Fuck yourself moment. Go fuck yourself. And so I think that's the shot heard around the world. I think that was the final tipping point where the tide completely turned when Elon Musk said, go fuck yourself. You can mark that day as a shot heard around the world in the info war, and when we turn the tide.
So in your interview with Tucker, you did express concern on what could happen. So you expressed understanding on why Elon didn't bring you back. Obviously, that didn't last long. And you also had concerns on what could happen to Elon if he does reinstate your account. Now that you're back, do you expect Elon, who also called, I think he replied to Brian, who's on stage, one of his replies, he said, I expect revenue to potentially drop from this decision. Do you expect there to be attacks or pressure on Elon after he reinstated you?
Well, I think he said that yesterday. I don't have the comment on X in front of me, but he basically said it's the right thing to do because of principle, and it's also what the majority of the vote said. So this probably will hurt X monetarily, but justice be done, may the heavens fall, basically. But at the end of the day, it already has way more traffic, way more people. It's avant-garde. It's revolutionary. It's rebel. It's maverick, and that's what Elon Musk has always said he is. And he's done all these maverick things, and people always say, well, he didn't really do that. But I went back and researched it. He did do that. All these incredible successes. I'm not kissing his ass. It's true. And the fact that he could take over Twitter, free it, and bring back one of the most demonized people, if not the most demonized in the world, talk about a witch hunt, shows he put his money where his mouth is and is the Maverick's Maverick. I mean, nobody can argue now that this guy is not cutting edge Maverick. And so I think he understands that that's where this is going. And he's gambling on free.
What just happened?
Congressional hearing on big tech censorship, and we called out Jack Dorsey. And it was Republicans who, shouted me out and had us thrown out of the hearing room. And so I think it's important for people to know that Republicans had enough time. They were in control of the House and the Senate. And Trump was in the White House when Alex and I were trying to warn people about how this would impact our elections, how this would impact our ability to have open discourse. And when we were, screaming from the top of our lungs about how they were going to shut down people's bank accounts and use big tech to steal the election, with Yael Roth sitting in the front row with Jack Dorsey, it's all on video. Okay, they called us crazy.
And Laura, let me just back you up on this. I talked to Trump back at the time, and I said, listen, they're already curtailing you way back 90%. And he was still so confident he didn't take it serious. And this is a big criticism of Trump. He spoke some about censorship, but once he got banned, then it became front and center. Because again, there's still, especially in really older people, I'm not being mean, but people that are 75, 78 years old, he was like 74 at the time, they have real blind spots. And I mean, remember just a few years ago, they would have congressional hearings and Google would lie to the telecommunications committee and say, no, we don't track anybody's phones or locations. And they'd say, okay, good, I heard that. And congressman would say, why does it pop up on there? Where's that coming from? So you've got people that are dinosaurs when it comes to tech who don't understand any of it. And you have a judiciary that's the same. And so it's the blind leading the blind. And they don't understand that a new government, a multinational technocracy, has already basically taken the world over. Now they're starting to catch up really quick, but I know Jack Posobiec's on here. Jack has been in intelligence. He's connected to so many things going on, and Jack has been warning for 6 months that Biden would threaten physical war right before the election and use an expansion of that war to try to cancel the election or stay in power. And now,
why do they keep cutting him
Alex,
off?
you there? Did he drop out?
Oh, I'm right here. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I think you got a call. Yeah, go ahead.
How much of that got over? I'm sorry. How much?
All of it. It's literally up to the Biden part. Last few seconds.
Well, it's just that Biden represents the worst war hawks, the people that took us to all these illegal wars, the people that killed millions of Iraqis with sanctions, Madeleine Albright, the Democrats, the Republicans. Let's not forget Madeleine Albright on 60 Minutes was asked by Leslie Stahl, okay, you guys tripled the sanctions that George Herbert Walker Bush had on before. And over 1 million Iraqis have died, 500,000 of them children. That number later doubled to 1 million children, 1 million adults, not debated. And they said, is that a good price to pay? And she said, yes, it's a good price to pay. We basically do it again. Now, that's the mindset of the Republican Democrat war hawk leadership that is so crazy. They've been putting out white papers that are being circulated by the highest levels of the Pentagon that nuclear war is survivable. So all I'm saying is that we have to get control of our governments again to literally stop them destroying the planet. And I don't think I'm exaggerating to say that. And Jack's been warning about this.
Jack, any comments on this before going to Brian?
Yeah, hey Mario, hey Alex, great to see you back here on X in its new iteration. And I do think that because we face such a complex and unique series of threats right now, one of which I would include, and I would not put it beyond this current establishment to find an excuse to, as we saw in 2020, they used the crisis of COVID to change the way that we hold elections fundamentally in the United States, right? That's without question. They did do that. That they would look or seek for a crisis on a military, right? On a military footing to whether it be Gaza, whether it be Ukraine, whether it be a crisis involving the Taiwan Strait, whether it be something else that we haven't even talked about at this point, to then go in and find a new way to put controls on our election. Because look, you know, I was with President Trump last night in New York. We had a huge gala dinner, and we talked about the importance of this next election and how it really plays into the censorship and these ideas of what the ability of the distribution channels of truth are. And so whether or not you have someone who has an opinion on, oh, okay, I'm a Trump supporter, I'm not a Trump supporter, I'm an Alex Jones supporter, I'm not an Alex Jones supporter, I'm pro-Ukraine, I'm pro-Russia, I'm pro-Israel, I'm pro-Gaza, whichever it is, if you don't have one central hub, as Alex has said, that's allowing for these ideas and allowing for this information to be disseminated, and you've got people that decide that they can put their finger on the trigger and take out somebody like Alex Jones, who was the first one to do this. I mean, Alex, I was with you the day that this happened down there in Congress. That was the picture I posted of the two of us, because this has been the problem since really 2018. And if Trump hadn't, because people need to remember what the internet was like before Trump won the election. It really was when Trump won the election, because you had the head of Google go up there and say on election night in an internal meeting, and Alan Bakari at Breitbart has the video on this, said, we will not let this happen again. Big tech said, we will not let a populist uprising take over and put a candidate in office, right? Left or right, they said they will choose from now on. And that's when the censorship industrial complex began. So prior to Alex Jones's just really public execution in terms of the digital square, it was a digital public execution that we saw. Prior to that, the idea that people were getting suspended on Twitter, you know, Twitter 1.0, or even Facebook or YouTube or any of these things, it was ridiculous. You had to either, you know, really, you know, seriously violate terms of service, death threats, doxing. That was pretty much it. That was pretty much the only thing, or like actually hacking the system was the only thing that gets you out. But when they did that to Alex Jones, it fundamentally changed the way that we operate on social media and the way that we share information. And up until the point where Elon Musk purchasing Twitter and transforming it now into X, we have not had the ability to freely share information. And that's why in the past year, it's basically been about a year and change since he purchased it, that's why you've suddenly started to see people, and not even just on X, but out in the real world, out in normal conversations, we're finally starting to move past that point of intense censorship, where if you've lived in any country that has an authoritarian regime, you know that the censorship isn't external, it's internal.
Yeah, no, I didn't see him, but I sent him a
you know
message.
You're not allowed to hold certain opinions. You know you're allowed to say certain things, and so you censor yourself before you speak. So Alex, I just commend you for being able to always walk through these things, to never stop fighting, and then, you know, really just you have to look at Elon Musk and say thank you for what he has done.
Well, she's got to come. I had some papers I filled out for her anyway, so she's got to come see me
and
anymore.
everything that he's going through.
That's
has the
fine.
leverage to be able
She's
to be
eligible to come back when
a
things pick back up.
a real gamble betting on the people, and that's just one small point to throw before I forget about it, because I was asked a question earlier. How I've dealt with this. Again, I literally don't say this to sound like I love everybody and I'm
What is
this
Grok?
guy. This
It's
is not about me. It's about all of us. But once
Twitter's AI,
and once people are scared to defend
but I ain't paying for it.
they can lie about you.
It's going to be available to everybody pretty soon.
But more importantly, I was then used as a tool to scare everybody else and say, "Look what we did to Alex Jones. You better behave yourself, or will Alex Jones you?" And of course,
It's like a sarcastic AI too, kind of like Elon's version of AI. Alex keeps dropping out.
be extremely careful, and that doesn't mean that I'm letting the censors dampen what I say or what I do. I just realized anything I say or do, they're going to try to twist, and so I'm really going to try to not let Elon's gamble down, or any of the people that supported me's gamble down. I'm going to try to be very serious, very focused, and I intend to do like Tucker's done with the nightly monologue that goes out on X, and I'm really going to try to promote all the other voices and all the other great people that are out there, because there's real safety in numbers, and the more people we have with big followings that know what's going on, that stand up for basic human freedom and transcend left or right, and really just want renaissance, is where we need to go. And really what Elon Musk has been saying, if we don't have 2.1 children on average, civilization is going to collapse. Technology is not bad if it's our tool. So really, I'm going to try to get behind people being prepared, stabilizing the economy, innovating the economy, just like the world economy was stagnant, but then the things we got out of the space race and NASA helped create the whole new world we have. I really want to push to get all the disruptive technologies that have been suppressed out to the public. And again, I think that Elon's at the forefront of that. I'm not trying to kiss his ass. It's just true. And so I'm really just going to try to push for peace and justice and transparency and unity. And I'm not going to try to do the clickbait and, buy into the Carnegie and CIA groups that are trying to create racial division. And I'm not going to try to get into the whole Russian-Ukrainian division or Hamas-Israel division. I'm going to try to show all the sides of it and just try to find the common ground for peace and justice into the future, not to rebrand myself, but to show people who I really am. Because sure, I was big on hundreds of radio stations and to my own audience, and people would still just see the little clips that would go viral, the more hilarious or extreme or even satirical things. And so now I'm going to really, really try to get my identity back, really from a selfish position too, because it's hurt my family a lot. So I don't care much about myself, really. I've got thick skin, but it's been rough for my family, what they did, turning me into Hitler 2.0. And so I'm really going to try to put a lot of content out, like I did on Tucker, so people can actually hear who I really am, and so we can just come together and move forward, not kill each other.
Brian, before we move on to the war in Ukraine and the war in Gaza, I'll give you the mic for a quick question.
Yeah, so before I ask you a question, I just want to say we're probably about as far politically away from each other as anybody can get. I disagree with you on probably so much. But I think dialogue's key. And I think I even advocated for your banning at one point, probably like 2017 or something like that. And when we were banned in 2019, you were literally the only person to actually speak out for us. So I thank you for that. So I guess my question would be, what are your thoughts about the new X? Community notes, obviously that's going to help fact checking. Have you played around with community notes? Do you understand how that works? And how do you think that's going to be used, whether it's for you or against you?
I welcome community notes. I think that it's not censorship, it's a community square. So if I got up in the community square and I said the moon was made out of cheese, or that we should kill all the black people, both things are not true, then people can come up in the square and say, no, the moon's not made out of cheese. Or they come up and say, no, we shouldn't kill all the white people or anybody. Or so whatever the crazy statement is, the answer is being able to respond to it. And so I really welcome community notes, because then it's not some big corporation like Microsoft with their news guard, who's got one of the worst records actually of truthfulness out there, telling you that they're the arbiter of truth and using sly methods like Snopes and others do to deceive people. I welcome people correcting me. When I'm on the radio/TV doing my weekday shows at InfoWars, I've got a crew and they're running it, and they don't tell me what to say or do. But a couple times a day, they said, "Hey, you just said a date wrong, or you just said something that they know is wrong," and then I correct it, because I never consciously get something wrong. But when you're talking 3-4 hours a day, you make mistakes. And so I think that that's what this is all about. And so I really look forward. In fact, I want people that politically disagree with me to come on. That's much better radio and TV. But the internet put people in their own silos where we don't communicate with each other. And half the time we're disagreeing with the other side because we have a distorted perspective of what they're saying. And we know that the CIA and the Justice Department and the Carnegie and Ford and Rockefeller foundations that on record create all this division, they're the ones that are manipulating all of that and using that for divide and conquer strategies. And so I do know how community notes work, and I think it's the best system out there, and I think it's a great innovation that's been brought to the internet by X.
One final question, if you don't mind. Have you communicated with Musk at all before you were reinstated, or did this happen kind of suddenly?
No, I haven't communicated with Elon, and I mean, I'm good friends with Joe Rogan. He didn't tell me any secrets, but we get dinner, here and there, and he hangs out with Musk quite a bit. And he told me like 2-3 years ago, he goes, "No, Musk is totally for real, and really is pissed off about what's going on." And Joe basically said he says a lot of the same stuff you say, to me at dinner. He says at dinner, and so I mean, I really have just been really pleased at what Musk has done. Christ said you judge a tree by its fruits, and the fruit coming out of Musk is just all good. I mean, in fact, I mean, it's really amazing what he's been able to do. And so, and I've told my own listeners this, because Musk has pushed some things, that people can take and say, "Oh, that's bad." Well, my uncle was in a motorcycle accident and got an experimental brain chip 5 years ago, and now can walk and talk and everything else. So I'm not against brain chips when you need them. I don't think Musk is bad for pushing that. I don't think school kids should get them, or they should be, sold at a consumer level, and people should be told, go out and get them if something isn't wrong with you. But I'm also a libertarian. If you want to go out and get a brain chip, that's fine. But my audience, in the last few years is like, well, maybe he is good. And then now they're like, wow, this guy's great because he's doing so much good. You really can't argue with the product. And that's why the establishment's after him. And that's the final thing somebody's good when the very corrupt, evil establishment is after him. So, I mean, I wouldn't call myself a Musk file, but I'm certainly a supporter of his main agendas that I see as very, very healthy and transformative and empowering for the species.
Yeah, and Musk said it himself in a
Speaking of that, it's supposed to be a big launch tonight, isn't there?
Brian, I'm just trying to find the quote here. But essentially, he says something along the lines of, I might disagree with a lot of what Alex says, but this is what free speech is all about. And also another thing you mentioned, Alex, about Musk's safety. One of the first things I think it was the first time he came on this show, or the second, one of the first two. And he said something along the lines of, if something happens to me, just remember, I will never commit suicide. So it just kind of highlights the concern that many have, just based on a lot of the decisions that he's making, and this is one of them. But I'll move the discussion.
Real quick
yeah,
on
go
that?
ahead.
That's really important. Trump will never commit suicide. I will never commit suicide. Elon Musk will never commit suicide. Andrew Tate will never commit suicide. None of us will ever commit. Jack Posobiec won't commit suicide. Steve Bannon won't. That they don't want to turn us into martyrs. They either poison you, or they come to a murder-suicide, kill your wife, kill you. That's a known deep state tactic. And so, absolutely, if they gun down Elon Musk, that only makes him bigger. But he's such a threat, they might do it, even though it makes him into a martyr, because they know there's not leadership to replace him. So absolutely, it's very important he get it on record that he will never commit suicide. That's why Trump will, be randomly driving down the road and order Secret Service to pull over at a hamburger place. And he walks in and says, "I'm buying hamburgers for all of you." And he stands right there at the counter and watches it made, has them deliver him the bags, and then he randomly grabs one. And I'm not going to get into inside baseball, but the kind of stuff they were doing to Trump early on and I first broke this, and later it came out that he thought this too. They said, "Oh, Trump's crazy. He thinks they're putting, stuff, sedatives in his food." Early on in the White House, I've been told by high-level sources that he did indeed believe that was happening. So they also might not kill Musk, but he should watch out for them, putting radioactive isotope in his food, or some type of tranquilizer that builds up in the blood. I mean, this is the real stuff that these intelligence agencies that think they own us have done around the world. So people better watch out.
And you're talking about one of the most powerful people in the world, and the richest man alive. So kind of highlighting that the amount of influence or power they may have. Talking about the intelligence agencies, you did talk, and we do have Jackson on stage, who's been very vocal about the war, and Laura as well, who's been vocal about the war in Gaza. You said something on the Tucker Carlson interview. You said, there is no way one of the best intelligence agencies in the world didn't know this was coming. And you're referring to what happened on October 7th. Can you elaborate on this and expand on what that means to the Middle East and how the war could end?
I want to be 100% clear. Israel's a diverse political group. They were basically in a soft civil war. So when I criticize Israel, it's not me trying to get.
Did you get a chance to fill out, or you make?
I did. It's all filled out. I apologize. Did Rob already talk to you?
Huh?
Rob already talked to you?
Before the New York Times came out.
Rob?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. No.
Yeah. They're just it's gotten super slow. So today is it for now. He'll be one of the first ones to come back, but he's waiting.
He did know. But 100%.
He just came down. He's upset about it too. But it's just what happens a lot of times right before the holidays with them. They
like, is this some idea?
Absolutely not. He says whenever things pick back up again, you're going to be first.
So take my stuff out of my locker.
I mean, unless you're welcome to come by and pick it up anytime. But if you don't want to, if you don't want to have to do that,
okay,
it's up to you.
Not right now.
Okay, swing by and let us know.
So
you're
not come back.
Well, not. I will definitely reach out. I'll go through Carrie as well.
I was like, what did I do?
You didn't do absolutely anything. He's been very happy.
Okay.
I checked it whenever someone's new.
Okay. I'm like, oh. Okay.
And believe me, he hates to be able to do this because he knows that whenever he gets good ones, he wants to try and keep them, but it's just not his decision. It's from above.
Yeah. Okay. So
Okay.
it's just slow. So whenever.
Yeah. Whenever that, usually right after the new year.
Yeah. So just leave my stuff there. I can just.
It's up to you. I mean, they will clean them out once in a while though. So I mean, you don't have to do it right now, but sometime this week maybe just to be safe.
Okay.
All right. I apologize. Like I said, and if anything, and this week because of all this slowdown, I'm not going to be spending as much time here either. So I'm going to be trying to find more customers, or some more people for me to hire for besides here. That's typical this time of year. Sometimes it goes a little bit into January before it happens, but
that's probably going to be
that's how they're going to do it for now.
And the first Trump administration.
Okay.
I apologize. I hope you have a great holiday, and if you need anything, please reach out to me. You know I'm always available for you. Okay. Yeah, turn that in. You'll probably end up having to do some other paperwork now with Carrie. Just, I mean, because you did work a little bit, so you may be able to initiate some kind of other help or something like that. But I'll let Carrie know that this has nothing to do with you. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
What's happening with China, Russia, Gaza, and all the people that want to go to war right now so much with those countries. But, Trump is only going to be in office for 4 years, and then who's next? You're going to have another pro-war spokesperson like Ron DeSantis probably running, and Gavin Newsom. So what's the answer to how we can actually rid these anti-human Malthusian scum from our government? Does Trump have to lock them in prison? I mean, I personally would support that, but how do you think we actually rid this problem once and for all?
Well,
of course you would support
I don't know
that.
if Jack Posobiec's there, but he and Steve Bannon are probably the smartest people on this subject. So if he's still there, please pop in after me. But let me just give you a 35,000-foot view. What you said is totally true about Trump thought, hey, this is like a business. I'm going to come in, bring people in. They're going to do what I tell them. No, Obama signed the Countering Foreign Disinformation Propaganda Act as one of his last acts when he left office in 2017. And he put a stay-behind networks in the agencies, State Department, FBI, CIA, Justice Department, some think tanks to actually undermine Trump, under the auspices of him being a Russian agent with no proof. So this was going on at the RNC in 2016 in Cleveland. It later came out. They'd already designated him with no proof as a Russian agent and turned these systems loose on him and the American people. So Trump has said when he gets in, he is going to purge the leadership of the U.S. attorneys, all of them, which Clinton did that as well, so it's constitutional. That's why they say he's going to be a dictator and he's going to kill everybody and prosecute his political enemies. They're the ones that have been doing that. All he's got to do is remove them, and he's been provided with lists now and is now listening to people that knows who's who. I mean, well, let me tell you, the deep state really came after me in 2018 when I went on air and said, Fiona Hill is on the board of George Soros's Open Society. Fiona Hill is one of the top writers at theglobalist.com. Fiona Hill working with McMaster are inside operatives, and they're the moles. And man, I mean,
Exactly. Well, I have a meeting with my boss
we
tomorrow.
went on 60 Minutes and said, I don't even know what a globalist is. And so that's why they've said they're not.
And if she's being honest, it means I'm going to be out in the street doing sales, trying to find more customers.
And the intelligence agencies created the fake dossiers, use cutouts. Now they're saying he's going to be a dictator, and so he's got to be stopped. And I believe, like they did with JFK, because he wasn't going along with the Federal Reserve, they are already have the plans and blueprints ready. I guarantee you they're trying to poison him right now. And if that doesn't work, they'll either blow his airplane up or shoot him. So you're kind of counting your chickens before they're hatched. And I hope you're right that he gets in. But I don't think they're going to let him get in unless there's a big enough uproar up front to let the establishment know that we're watching them and are aware. And there may be such an awakening now that they do back off. That would be their smarter course than try to re-infiltrate in the future. But I don't believe they're going to do that. I believe this is the critical juncture, the heart of the battle. It's the Waterloo, and they're outnumbered, they're surrounded, and they're not going to surrender. And so if Napoleon could have assassinated his enemies instead of being defeated, he would have done that. And so I use the Napoleon analogy. So it's the globalist in the bunker like Hitler in 1945. The problem is they're still in control of the bureaucracy. So we are waking everybody up. Populists are being elected everywhere, all over the world. The globalists are in trouble. So now they're going to throw everything, including the kitchen sink, at us. And so that's where I stand on that. Is Jack still there?
He is. And we also have Elon on here. He did say that connections to your account, the reason you couldn't join is it take a few more hours for all the connections to be restored. But you were thanking Elon earlier. He's on stage, Alex, for you to thank him and ask him any questions you have, or vice versa. Elon, how are you?
Good, Mario. Yeah, it's been these are tumultuous times, wild times indeed. Yeah, as you just mentioned, when there's an account with a large number of followers that is restored to the system, there are a lot of connections that need to get you have to re-knit the thing together, so that takes several hours. So the Alex's account should be working, I think.
Oh, what happened? What happened? So they just removed it? Wait.
Response to Ed's question, which is, let's take the content of whatever speech it was that's off the table, kids being shot in schools or otherwise. I think there's two kinds of ways to worry if you're worried about the spread of misinformation or false facts. One is, let's deal with the content of the speech itself. And Elon talked about community notes as being, imperfect though it is, maybe the best method out there on the internet. And I think that's one set of discussions to have. That's quite a different thing from what the law certainly looks at as the most draconian First Amendment violation, which is what it calls a prior restraint, which is to previously just restrain a person from speaking, period. And I think that that is, no matter what the content of the speech is, it's quite a different thing to say that because of who you are or what you have said in the past, you may not say another thing in the future. And so I just think that those are two different concepts. And I just, for one, just wanted to share my experience of my Alex Jones experience, if I may.
That is perfectly said.
Yeah.
That's because you don't cut somebody's tongue out,
Yeah.
even if I did bad things in the past. And I certainly wasn't
but you know what? But if people say false things, they deserve to have the consequences for that particular speech aired out in the marketplace of opinions. And community notes is one feature of doing that. And I think that's a legitimate discussion to have. But the idea, first of all, let's just make the observation that if somebody has once said a bad thing, then they'd be restrained from speaking. Most people who have been in a position of prominence in the U.S. federal government would not be allowed to speak again in other forums if that was the standard we were applying, right? I mean, you think about anybody who's been in the CIA or the FBI in a position of saying that the Hunter Biden laptop story was false or COVID didn't start in a lab in China. So we could go down that whole rabbit hole. But
well, yeah, I mean, as Alex said earlier, I mean, and this is not meant to be any kind of attack on George Bush, but George Bush did say, George Bush II did say that they were WMDs,
right?
And he said it not once, but many times, and that
and a lot.
So it got taken down on Rumble as well.
He did not have sufficient evidence to make that.
And a lot more people died.
And I kind of get it. It's copyrighted.
That statement.
Copyright holder has a right to do a DMCA claim.
But Alex, I think Alex, I think one of the things I just wanted to share with people is that I was actually just curious about this guy, Alex Jones. I'd never met him, but I happened to be in Texas. I visited the southern border, and I popped in Austin on the way back, or somewhere, I forget where we were, and I heard Alex Jones that's where he was. I said, I want to meet this guy that everybody says don't meet. And so we sat down, and I was actually surprised. And we actually aired it on X, or I put out clips of it on X. I can't remember, in like a podcast format. And so I was expecting to get in a debate about the Sandy Hook thing. And as soon as I open up, what I get is a guy apologized for being wrong. And then we moved on and talked about something else. And so for me, it was just interesting and eye-opening. And I think it would be interesting and eye-opening for a lot of people as well to sort of know that there are people who would have ever thought, made some mistakes, said some things that were wrong, and said some other things that were dead right that nobody else was saying either.
Most of what he said has been dead
get
right.
To the bottom of what's true is actually
no, I didn't
hearing
stay
one
up.
another, and when
they took it down over the weekend.
False, they deserve to be held accountable for it. So I think that's what it's a cool thing that hopefully we're able to have more of that rather than less because of the existence. I mean, if this platform didn't exist,
they have a point system on Rumble, and I have 26 out of 100.
Speech doesn't really exist on the internet
with that warning.
Culture, and so I think that's in response to Ed, a good thing, not a bad thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, and actually, to elaborate on the public relations firms, PR firms, which really should be called propaganda firms, because that's literally, public relations is literally a propaganda word for propaganda. You can read the history of how public relations was developed.
Edward Bernays.
Correct. But the way that PR firms actually corrupt the media is actually in a very significant way. Is that journalists are paid very little as journalists, but they can later retire and join a PR firm and make a lot of money. On the basis of the articles they've written in the past and their
357
at their publication.
Happy Monday.
So there is actually a strong monetary incentive, very strong, for corruption of the traditional media.
Elon, it's so glad you said that because people don't understand that's how these work, and I'm just now learning about that. The PR firms are so powerful; they're full of intelligence agency former people. So just like a general will sign off on some bad weapon system, then he retires and gets on the major board of the defense contractor for $5 million a year. It's a revolving door, and so that's why when these big PR firms snap and say jump, the media says how high, and you're absolutely right. When it comes to fact checking, they're really one of the most nasty, deceptive groups out there.
Yeah, they're propaganda firms. It would just make a lot more sense if you just think PR firm equals propaganda. PR equals propaganda. That is literally what it means. And if you read the
Yeah, it keeps dropping.
I think you're dropping out, Elon. Is he dropping out? Is he dropping out for anyone else?
Yes,
Sorry?
he's dropping off for me. Elon, you said.
Yeah, you just dropped out, Elon. I think you're back now.
Oh, okay.
Is your
Sorry,
mic working? It's
my
good
mic-
now. It's good now.
my mic is working, but I'm
You're
just
back.
on this.
You were on PR
I'm just-
firms. You were on PR firms equal propaganda.
Yes, it's the public group should really understand that public relations literally just means propaganda. PR firm means propaganda, and the PR firms have very strong control over the traditional media because that's where journalists go to retire and make tons of money. So there's a very strong monetary incentive for journalists to do what the PR firms say because they know that that is where they're going to get rich in the future.
Bingo.
Elon, a question is more for Alex, and me and Alex were discussing it before you jumped on. Is the pressure, if any, that you've faced since reinstating, or since you said you'll reinstate Alex? Now, Alex, kind of referred to extreme scenarios where your life could be in danger because of what you're doing with X. I know you mentioned it briefly in one of the first spaces we had. You made a joke about, hey guys, if something happens to me, I'll never commit suicide. But how much pressure have you faced in recent months? Obviously, we've seen the back and forth with a few organizations that are trying to censor others. And has that increased since you reinstated Alex?
I mean, at this point, reading the sort of legacy media is just depressing. I accidentally once in a while will go see like Google News or whatever, or
Oh yeah,
News
that
or
was
whatever,
pretty
some
fucking
random
awesome.
thing, and I'm like, this is just. I mean, frankly, the quality of the propaganda isn't even good. Look, if you're going to do propaganda, at least make it entertaining. And I find it's dull, boring. And just not even well written.
Well, that's right. They'll put out one thing and then they all parrot it. It's a dog.
It's like lazy propaganda. It's like work harder.
We've got Andrew Tate here as well. Andrew, how are you?
Nice group.
Andrew, your mic, is it working? You got to unmute bottom left corner.
Can you hear me?
We can, yeah. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, friend. I'm in the middle of a poker game, but since this is the battle for humanity against the Satanists and the Matrix, with its constant deception of the populace, I thought I would jump in and say hello to everybody.
Your thoughts,
Hello.
Andrew? We had your brother on earlier, Tristan come on earlier. Your thoughts on Alex Jones being back on X?
I'd rather hear his thoughts on Elon Musk being the biggest maverick of the last 500 years. I'm not kissing ass here, Elon. You've got big ones, man. On every front, you are literally overturning the entire power structure. I was just going to say this once Andrew get in, but I just want to say this while you're here. I mean, you are literally changing the entire paradigm.
Yeah, well, he was directing it pretty much at Bob.
You've definitely got the system scared, and so
Now Bob may be losing his job.
Everybody needs to support the sponsors on X. I personally am doing all my Christmas shopping this year with all the great gadgets and stuff that are on X. But I'm going to shut up now.
See how much they're pushing the Bud Light beer commercials on the weekend?
Talk about or ask questions to Elon Musk.
Yeah, well, Alex is certainly a friend of mine. I've known him for a long time, and I'm extremely happy he's back. I've celebrated that publicly, but Alex nailed it. Elon is taking the biggest risk here. It takes unlimited energy to propagate lies. You have to continually repeat them, and you have to continue to try and falsify information and hide the truth to keep lies afloat. And this simple purchase, you call it simple, the purchase of a simple website has literally cracked the matrix in real time, and it becomes extremely difficult now to run the psyops they were previously running and enslave the populace, which is their primary goal. So Elon is a hero, absolutely. And the risks you are taking, Elon, I don't think many people at home actually understand the gravity of the risks you are taking, because your ability to speak freely is heavily leveraged against your insignificance. You're only allowed to speak if nobody listens to you. And if you get big and people start listening, they're going to come at you hard. And I think I'm not completely versed, but from what I understand,
well, yeah, of course they're going to kiss his butt. It's the richest man in the world.
They're going to do. They're going to keep
kiss
pulling
him a
out
little
the hat
bit
to try and slow him down or
Andrew, let me interrupt before I forget. I don't give him any attention. The same law firm that came after me with these PR firms.
And come on.
You've just dropped out, I think, Alex.
He's just dropped out?
Anyone else can I think he got a call. No, you got a call. Yeah, go ahead, Alex.
There is a 3-letter agency running this. Not all of them, but let's just say it starts with a C. and it ends with an A. Sorry, go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's liberal NGOs which will sponsor agents of the Matrix. They'll sponsor females to end up in a house party and then lie to try and then put you in a Romanian jail cell and get you sitting with the cockroaches in a dungeon. And it's a very scary world where you get to a point where you're only trying to tell the truth, and they're going to punish you for that using endless lawfare. And this battle has only just begun. But the Matrix has truly cracked now, and it's going to be extremely hard to lie to us like they did before with X, the way it currently is. And I think it came at exactly the right time. I almost, without trying to sound pessimistic, there was a point where I kind of felt like I was losing hope. You couldn't tell the truth about anything. Everything was a lie. Everything from head to toe was a lie. And they're trying to lock us all back in our houses again. And we can finally talk about it. It's truly heroic. And Elon's taking massive risk, and the respect I have for him for doing that is enormous.
Absolutely. I mean, this is what happened. I'm going to shut up because I want to hear from Elon, but this is so historic. Elon Musk's courage, and it's true, I'm saying, has broken the back of the globalists. They'll never be able to turn this around again unless they have a nuclear war. Elon Musk has broken their back.
Yeah. Well, I guess some people are afraid to die, but I am not.
That's and you know what? It's kind of crazy because I was talking to someone the other day and I was explaining. They were asking about my seizure, how they took all my houses, all my money, all my cars, blah blah. And I said, you never truly own anything on this earth anyway. You can have a piece of paper that says you own it, but if you piss off the government structures, they just get a judge to stamp a different piece of paper and you no longer own it. The only thing you own is your soul and your integrity. And this is the one thing they cannot take away from you, no matter what they do to you. And that is the best feeling on earth. It doesn't matter if you can sell your soul to the devil
Super
or
spider.
what they want you to say,
The
then
fuck?
you truly own nothing. And
Yeah,
I think
I
that as history books look back on this pivotal moment when X was finally freed and the information of
That
the world
sounds scary
finally
as fuck.
flowing freely, I really do believe we're on the right side of history. And if you were to ask me if there's anything worth dying for, it would be for the freedom of humanity and to be on the right side of history. So I
I don't
agree.
watch
with
Fox
absolutely.
News. Only Fox News I get to see is clips. And
just
some of the
generally
commentators I watch are
civilization,
watching
further
some.
civilization, and I think we should always be concerned that we can regress as a civilization. And if you study history, you can just see the arc of one civilization after another as the civilizations rise and fall through history. We've been in a period of civilization rising very rapidly, but we should be concerned that we may be cresting, we may subside, and there are many times where I get late stage civilization vibes, and I'm just worried that maybe we're cresting as a civilization and
Hey, Matt.
perhaps headed for a fall. So yeah.
Well, I agree with you because I truly believe, and a lot of people have ever said this before me, this is
Spaces still has its issues, man.
Do you want to grow civilization, or do you want to decline and collapse? And because steady state is not stable. So, and I say we grow, and I say we expand, and we have more humans, and we become a multi-planet species and a space-faring civilization, and ultimately be out there among the stars. And I think that is the exciting, inspiring thing for the future. Not a declining human civilization that dwindles to nothingness and where humanity dies with a whimper.
And that's the bottom line. I think it is the battle of people who believe in humans and humanity and want it to expand against people who are so selfishly going through the earth and so selfishly orientated that they don't care about expanding civilization. They just want to control the humans that are currently here.
And Andrew, I totally agree with you.
Hubris and an arrogance.
I totally agree. Let me throw this caveat on it because I've read the writings of Bill Gates and Klaus Schwab and the Club of Rome. They know we could easily expand. There's plenty of room, hundreds of billions of known galaxies. They know that this is just a seed that's going to not just grow into one giant oak, but an entire forest, an entire universe. And so they want to shut everybody else down because they can't deal with the competition, like the Elon Musk that come out of the general public. They want a global tyranny so they can direct it and control it so that they direct the expansion. And we can't let that happen because they literally talk about it in Agenda 21 the official UN plan, a 90% world population reduction. So we need to go with the Elon Musk plan. And that's why I tell people that get upset, they go, Elon Musk is involved in every advancing technology. The globalists are pushing that too. Well, technology is like a gun. It's whose hand it's in. And so we need the gun in the people's hands, the gun of expansion, instead of in the globalist hands. And so just because Elon Musk is on the cutting edge of every technology, don't fear the technology like some troglodyte. Fear us not being in control of it. And Elon is saying we need to be an expansionary human explosion of competition and freedom, not some new dark age with a tiny breakaway civilization that's only working for itself. Sorry, I'm ranting.
No, but you're completely right, because if Elon doesn't push these boundaries, they will push these boundaries. And once they have the sole control and the monopoly over such technologies, it's over for all of us. And I don't think most people understand. It simply is the humanistic view against the death cult view. And there's people in the world who have no interest in growing humanity, no interest in advancing the species as a whole. Their interest is in power and control. And all they want to do is have absolute power over the people that currently exist and their children. And you can talk about all the perverse reasons they want to do those exact things, but it's truly scary. And all the people at home who don't really understand the gravity of this fight, they seem to think it's right wing, left wing, ha ha ha.
Yes, exactly. They're thinking about it the wrong way. It's
From School of Ecology, and he's here with a Joro spider. Andy, how big is that thing?
That thing is right in front of me right here, and I'm going to hold it up for everybody to see.
Oh, he's got one? Oh.
Here is the critter in question. Let me move it so you can see it on the camera.
Okay, so that's as big. It gets as big in the post that I was reading. It said it can get as big as a human hand. Oh my God, it's moving toward your hand. Move the stick. It's going to come at you. It can be as big as a hand. Is that right? That looks like a teenage child's hand, maybe.
This is a small one. So I tried to get a large one for this segment, but I couldn't find a large one. But so know that this is on the small side. They will get almost as big as your palm, and that's the maximum size they'll get. They are, if you're an arachnophobe, this is the stuff of your worst nightmares.
How did they arrive here, the Joro spiders? That's usually on a cargo ship, and somehow it's always coming from Asia. Is that what happened here?
That's our best guess. And so this species is really good at hitchhiking. They can put an egg sac on a cargo container. It would stay there for about 3 or 4 months while the cargo container is being moved around the world. That's one possibility. These spiders, as adults, can cling to cars and trucks. I was literally driving down the highway at highway speed. I looked over at my passenger side mirror, and I saw a Joro spider hanging off of it at highway speed. And so they're really good at hitchhiking, and that's probably our best guess for how they got here.
Are they poisonous or toxic to human beings at all?
Okay, so that's a good question.
I've seen him on
some venom. This spider is no different. This is not in the same category as your black widow or your brown recluse, where you have to get out the cans of Raid. This spider is not going to harm people, and it's probably only gonna really hurt you if you try to pick it up with your fingers. Basically. And even then, it's a rather shy species. And in fact, I've tested this in my lab. It literally is one of the shyest species of spiders that we know of.
Where is the spider now? Is it still on the stick? And where's the stick? Did you put it down?
I still have it right here. And she is just exploring the stick. I mean, some people keep these spiders as pets because they're so docile.
As pets?
Some people do keep spiders as pets. It's a real thing. So people.
Well, what do you feed the spider? Like a cheeseburger? I mean, what do you feed this thing? Apparently, it eats everything, or eats all types of insects and everything else.
So when I do keep some of the spiders in my lab, I do feed them flies. But for the most part, for my work, I capture them from the wild and bring them in, and then I let them go after I'm done with them. These spiders here are really exceptional because of their size, their striking coloration, and because of their large webs, as you can see in the shot here. Their webs of this species are at least 3 or 4 feet in diameter. And I can tell you from experience, in my front yard, you can have a web has 3 or 4 spiders that are all clustered together that would make like a giant cluster web that's 10 feet long. And so it's the stuff out of like Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I'm not coming to your house anytime soon, anytime soon, ever. And I appreciate your study of these spiders. I would like to keep them in New York and New Jersey and not have them come to, Washington, D.C. or to Virginia.
About that, they are coming your way. And the people need to know that there is no stopping their spread. I've had people email me asking me if I can do something about this, but I tell them no. There are at least 1 million of them now in the Southeast. Every single one of these can lay 500 eggs apiece. So just do the math, and it's overwhelming at this point.
Andy, great to see you. Put that spider back in its whatever it is. Great.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews. And
yeah, we're good. Later, Sean.
Sorry, I just got a little X here. But you're totally exactly. This right left is it's the wrong way to think about it. It's the sort of the extinctionists versus the pro-humans. And once you see that it's extinctionists versus the pro-humans, then it becomes very clear.
So, Elon, when are you going to? I know you got 100 irons in the fire, but when you talk about we need to create a plan B for humanity, well, that's really
no. It's not a plan. I mean, I think
an alternate master plan, because the globalists are controlled right now. You're trying to wrest control with us, helping. I mean, when are you going to put out your battle plan, or you're already putting it out of pieces?
No, I mean, what I'm saying is that actually, I think we should expand humanity. Like basically, we should have basically more kids. Population should increase, and we should become a multi-planet species and make life multiplanetary. Build a self-sustaining civilization on Mars, and then ultimately, this will be long after I'm dead, probably, but. Well, almost certainly, we can go to other star systems and go out there and I don't know, maybe we'll find some long dead alien civilizations. And I don't think we want to be one of those lame one planet civilizations that never got beyond, its home planet. I mean, we're gonna, what are the aliens gonna think of that? It's like we got to make a good showing. Team Human.
Well,
Let's go.
And that would absolutely that would be certainly disappointing. But it's essential and truthfully, it's so amazing we'd even speak about these things. Only 2 years ago, you couldn't even speak about these subjects, but it's so pertinently obvious to anyone who pays attention. And it is scary, and expansion and humanistic views are certainly the way to progress. And it has to be done. There's no other way. Just like a business, just like you guys said, if you stand still, you die. And it takes a few brave people to break the matrix. You have to break the dam. And I think bravery is so important because it puts a crack in the dam, and it shows that if there's people out there brave enough to risk getting canceled, risk lawsuits, risk lawfare, then it's going to inspire bravery amongst the rest of the populace. And it becomes extremely hard to lie to brave people. And I think that's one of the largest pandemics of Earth today is bravery. And when I say bravery, I don't mean that in any kind of negative connotation. Bravery is being full of love and loving the people around you and sticking up for your community and loving where you live and loving your country. And it's brave to do those things. And it's love.
What do the globalists teach us? Children are bad. We're ugly. Humans create, all.
He's not talking about a stray cat. Mountain lion.
Each other, so we just give up, roll over, so the globalists can have the future.
Depending on his hunger level and how far into what he thinks is his area you are in.
The thing is that you can't really separate yourself from civilization. So I think those who are sort of advocating, like it's really, I think it's just logical to be pro-civilization. You don't actually necessarily have to be altruistic. You just have to think long term and say, obviously, you cannot exist in any good way without civilization. I mean, just watch one episode of Naked and Afraid and see how much you want to go live in a forest by yourself.
Well, we're in a super pivotal moment now. And the reason we're in a pivotal moment is because the machines cannot do the policing as of yet. My brother and I often talk about how bad COVID would have been if they had Terminator machines. You didn't have your mask on. You couldn't even appeal to the empathy of the person who knew how insane it all was. As soon as the machines control the policing, it's absolutely over. And we're not that far away. So we're in a very pivotal period now where the bravery that's required to resist the globalist oppression has to happen.
Well, that's too
now.
bad.
Soon the
Chocolate.
technology will exist.
He,
And
needs,
it's over
he
for
didn't
everybody.
deserve to die.
We are at the critical crossroads right now in the entire future of the human.
If that thing's in Minneapolis, there's a
Plan
reason.
B, but I mean, Elon,
He's
what do you
either
call
sick or
your
injured or
ultimate
something
plan
like
for
that.
humanity?
He should be staying
We
away.
should have a debate because the BlackRocks and the globalists are right now in control. If they were 100% control, you and others have felt rested to maybe they're in 80% control. They're losing control very quickly as people discover what they're doing. But what would you call the debate and discussion about a pro-human future? Just team humanity?
Yeah, team humanity, absolutely. That sounds good. But I think like something that is really important is like you just literally have to have kids, or there's no next generation. Alex, do you have kids?
Yes, I do. I'm not as prolific as you, but I wish I was. They're the best thing in my life. I have 4.
Okay, great. And Andrew?
I do have a few. I won't let you down, Elon. I'm coming
good.
to take over your title. I'm coming to take over. I'm doing my best. You know, I got to use my good looks for something.
Well, I think we ought to encourage people to have kids
And
I'm
this
sure.
is the bottom line
There's
argument.
probably plenty
This
of them
is
in
what
the
is so
canyon there.
important. We just talked about how the globalists are ultimately selfish and only care
Well,
about
look at
their own power.
most of the globalists don't have children. And
Yeah,
of course,
but
because they're selfish.
Here's the
When you
thing:
have a child.
you guys are all attacking the globalists, but if you ask a globalist, like I have friends who I would consider globalists, you ask them, their ideologies are aligned that they believe that somebody living across the world is just as valuable as somebody who lives in America. And I know, there's
They've already
arguments.
enslaved the third world, and they're using them as.
No, but that's not how everybody who you would categorize as.
No, you're right. There's a lot of useful idiot globalists, but the globalists at the top are depopulationists. That's their religion.
So maybe if you want to look at the top, you can say globalists at the top. Some of them might have that view, but if you just talk to an ordinary person who views themselves as a globalist, they're not saying, "Oh, I'm evil." They're not an evil person. They just have this belief that every human being around the globe is equal. That's
I would
all
call that an
looking at.
internationalist. That's an internationalist. A globalist wants one world government run by corporations.
Yeah, well, I think you can label them differently, but I think if you talk to somebody,
Well, Henry Kissinger was a globalist. Zbigniew Brzezinski was a globalist. I'm not trying to be mean to you, but their number one rule is the Earth is too small. We can't expand. We've got to bean count and put everybody on rations. We've got to social engineer and end the normal human program because humans are failed.
Well, those are too bony.
The factory farm humans, those are allowed to survive.
I'll answer the question. I'll answer the question.
Sorry, guys. If we can just say like, some of these titles are a little confusing. If someone's an internationalist or a globalist, I think what can achieve some disambiguation here is to say like, does someone have as an axiomatic belief that there are too many people on the Earth, or do they not? Do they believe that the Earth can sustain the current population, or do they think it cannot? Now, the reality is Earth can actually handle a human population probably 10 times larger than the current population. Earth is actually very sparsely populated by humans. We only see density because if we're in a dense urban environment like New York or
Randy dropped off. Yeah, let's fix it.
Is equal wherever it is on Earth. It's not like I think an alternative view is countering that. There's also just a separate place in terms of where you're situated. Where's your obligation, right? As a father, it's to your family. As a president, it's to your country. And just because you believe that's the hierarchy of your obligations means somebody else is a leader of one of those other countries. And that's an obligation that they have too. But that's like a different discussion.
Well, the neoliberals in their own PR, they're the ones doing the worst things on the earth. They just say, "Oh, we want global government because we want to give Africa's representation." Then they lock them down for 3 years and starve 30 million of them to death, and then organize them to flood us as a political underclass. This is cold-blooded Henry Kissinger State Department Memorandum 200. I mean,
Yeah,
they've got.
It's not black and
I
white.
think there's two
though,
different
right? So, like,
conversations.
but what is black and
Wait,
what is
but can we
what
just?
is
I'm sorry.
what is
just,
black?
Go ahead, Andrew. Go ahead, Andrew, and then we'll go to Dave. Andrew.
Okay.
What I do believe is black and white is simply, if you read a history book, you'll see the worst things that humanity have ever done have been done with good intentions. That's what's so bad about evil acts, is that people
Road
think
to
they're
hell.
doing the right thing. And that's the most dangerous thing about it. And this idea that they look at all human life as sacred and all the same, I actually disagree. I think the reason they will prioritize people in a third world country, for example, you'll say it's because they see us as equal. I think it's because they see us now as spoiled and annoying. They don't like that we need pensions and living space and healthcare. They simply want slaves and a robot class, and they'll do anything it takes to get it, and they'll get it from anywhere they can. And when someone comes along and says, "But my intentions are good," I'm not interested in that, because you can name any Holocaust or any atrocity in history. The people didn't think they were the bad guys. They often thought they were the good guys. And I guess the easy way to look at life is you want to be having as many children as possible. You want to pray other people do the same, and you want those people to enjoy freedom. And anyone who's coming along restricting speech, restricting access to certain things, restricting movement, restricting, all they're doing is trying to restrict so they can control. And nobody in a history book ever who did that either was the good guy. I think it's very clear to see who's on the right side of history and who isn't. And I advocate freedom for everybody. If I disagreed with absolutely everything Alex said, I'd still be glad he's back on X. And these people can't even handle a different opinion. Do you think they're going to allow the people of a different opinion to them to share water or share food or share anything else once they have
And the
absolute
reason they don't
control?
want another opinion is they want to misrepresent what Elon Musk or Andrew Tate or Vivek Ramaswamy or any of. I'm telling you, they want us silenced so they can lie about what we said.
Yeah.
I have a quick.
I agree with you.
I have
Like,
a.
I
have a
Go,
quick.
hold on. We'll go, Jackson. I'm going to go to you right after Dave.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I agree that with you there. I think that a lot of the media and a lot of these platforms do want to silence voices because they want their voice to be heard louder. So yeah, I definitely hear you there. I definitely don't. I definitely, as when it comes to globalists, I think, it's not black and white. You're not either a globalist or you're not. I think people fall in between, and there's different reasons for why people might feel one way about one, you could say globalist idea and another. So I mean, I don't like painting people like, with a black and white pen, because I feel that everybody falls somewhere in the middle.
All I know is this: that there are people that want a corporate world government whose aim is depopulation and not giving the general public access to technology by lying about resources and literally saying carbon dioxide that plants breathe is evil, and then telling us the world's going to end in 2030 and the ice caps are all going to melt, and none of that's true. So our children basically give up on the future and decide not to have children. That's all I'm saying. And Elon Musk is promoting an optimistic, pro-human future that the science and evidence shows is real and that we need.
Gentlemen, I have to
Yeah,
go.
yeah. I just want to be sort of yeah, exactly. I want to be clear about my position. I'm super pro-human, and I mean all humans. Humans in America, humans in
Somebody's
Africa,
got their thing
Asia,
open,
and
somebody's
everywhere
got
else.
their phone open in the bathroom.
Yeah, that's Vivek. Vivek, that's your phone, Vivek. I'm not able to mute you. Vivek. All right, perfect. Go ahead, Elon.
Sorry about that.
So, well, I hope you feel better.
I feel great. Thank you. Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah.
That was great. Vivek was peeing in the background.
Team humanity here, and I just think we want to make sure that people have a positive view of the future, and like I think I encounter a lot of people who have actually very pessimistic conclusions about the future, and if you try to unpack that and say, where does that pessimism come from, and I think like these are like good people, like they have good intentions. I think they think about things come from is believing that there are too many humans on the planet. This is false. Earth can easily sustain far more than the current population, but they've been told this thing and they've believed it, and it is false.
I'm going to sign out.
I'm very pro environment, obviously.
Bye, Andrew.
I might have done more. I'm certainly I might have done more for sustainable energy than maybe any single human. So I would consider myself an environmentalist, but I also believe in physics and reality and not sort of being alarmist about things.
Well, something you said was really smart, and I've seen the equations. I'm not a mathematician or rocket scientist like you, but we need the fossil fuels to get to the new technologies and transfer over. You can't cut them all off and then not have it. They're blowing up the bridge that gets them there.
Gentlemen, what I would like to say, my final point, I would like to say, I often get asked by people who follow me, they say, who do you think who controls the world? Who do you think the Matrix is? And I use the Matrix as a very simple way to explain that they purport a false version of reality that everyone buys into to keep your mind occupied so they can extract your body heat from you for the soulless machines, which are essentially the globalists we're talking about. And I try and say that I still believe that we run the world. There's a lot more of us than them. We still control the world. It's just down to what we will accept and what will allow them to do to us. And that's why bravery is so essential and so important. And I know I can come across as brash with my message, but
you're not.
When I'm telling 16-year-olds, when I'm telling 16-year-olds to go and get rich and buy a fast car and train.
He dropped off.
This is literally this was not my decision. This is literally the Twitter logs of the old people that used to run Twitter. This is what they wrote.
I guess what I'm saying is, like, under your leadership, though, the suspension was kept in place. I remember you tweeted out because you're not going to bring someone back who lied about, the death of innocent children.
Yes.
So if that's the case, then and we're going to uphold things fairly and firmly for all ex-users. Can we expect that, like, if Alex or anyone else on this panel lied about Sandy Hook or an atrocity again, that they would also be banned again?
You already answered that.
Yeah, I've already answered that.
He did. Yeah.
And if that, okay, so if that is the case,
platform will adhere to the law, and we will adhere to the law. That is what this platform will do. So if somebody says
How about bringing back my personal account? It's been banned since April, and I still don't even know why. But I'm a little guy.
We will
Hey, Cynthia.
try our best to avoid any kind of permanent bans.
How you doing?
There's something fundamentally illegal.
Elon, I don't know. I know we don't.
We're just trying to stay true to the Constitution of the United States in America and the laws of the country as decided by the citizens.
Elon,
how you go ahead, Alex?
And Elon, way more interesting. And I just asked one question of Elon. Elon, it's great having you here in Texas. You're kicking ass. You're Texas through and through. Your whole spirit. We love you. Whatever happens with Trump down the road, should we change the Constitution so you can run for president? Would you ever think about that?
I would like to stay as a technologist and build rockets and electric cars and things that technologies that hopefully have a good effect on the world and advanced civilization. That would be my preference. I would not like to be president, so that would I would just like to build things that are further civilization. That's my goal.
I think that's a smart answer. Are you concerned if the deep state establishment, it's not just one group, is able to kill Trump or not let him run for office for the repercussions? I mean, are you optimistic for the future currently, or just how do you feel about the election coming up?
Well, I think it will not be a boring year. That's for sure. I think it's going to be eventful. I suspect. I don't know. You seem to be quite concerned that people will try to assassinate Trump, but I don't know. I mean, obviously, and I'm against assassination generally. So, I guess if Hitler was alive, I'd be in favor of assassinating him. But Stalin, that kind of thing.
I would be too. Your attitude is you can sell the world on freedom and humanity 2.0 and a new renaissance. The establishment will just step aside because our ideas are so good. Is that what you're saying?
Look, I think what I'm saying is that I think it is very difficult to predict the future. That we're certainly going to have.
Yes, being normal is very boring.
So the first one will have, you know, you could think of it sort of like a telepathy. You can sort of control your computer and phone just by thinking. So it's kind of like telepathy. And then the one after that will be, I don't know, we're trying to think of a name for it, but you can think of it like blind sight. Even if somebody has lost both eyes or lost the optic nerve and is completely blind, we can actually give them some amount of sight.
For
and
that.
ultimately, I think high resolution sight, kind of like Geordi LaForge from Star Trek, you could actually see in multiple wavelengths. You could see ultraviolet and infrared, and even see radar if you want.
And by the way, for people that don't know, Elon's not lying. Even in MIT papers, they've actually done tests. That's what they say though. Is I know the problem is just narrowing the sight to our bandwidth. They say these people see everything, right? Like a full spectrum.
Yeah, you can have it's a point at which you have a camera. You can have a camera that can receive photons of many wavelengths. So you could see, you know, even in darkest night, and you could see ultraviolet. You could see infrared. Like I said, you could even see radar if you want. So you know, it would be a kind of thing that would like. It's probably trademarked thing, but I think Blindside is a cool name for it. It's like even if, yeah.
Can we get one question from Mark Dice, because this is the best interview ever. Mark Dice is a great journalist. He stood up for me for the last 5 years when nobody else would. Mark, quick question for Mark, please.
A comment, really, just to reinforce to everybody listening, all the journalists, and thank you, by the way, Elon, for unbanning Alex, for everything that you're doing for the platform, for humanity. But I just want to reinforce, and I'm glad you retweeted this, Alex, the reason why Twitter cited Alex being banned, contrary to popular belief, is not because he entertained some conspiracy theories about Sandy Hook, as crazy as they were. And Elon just confirmed that the Twitter logs said this. He confronted Oliver Darcy, a public figure on public property, when he was working in the capacity of a journalist, and they cited that as.
But Mark, that's old news. Let's move on from Alex Jones.
Well,
we're talking to Elon Musk. What's your question for Elon Musk?
You know, I didn't see the Twitter file in the Twitter files. Can you release data about the choices that were made regarding the trending list? Because the trending list drives the news cycle, as you know, and they can create a self-fulfilling prophecy by manually inserting topics in there, getting people to talk about them. It becomes a topic. It becomes news. Did I miss that in the Twitter files, or was that just not released? I would like more data on the manipulation of the trending list to manipulate the news cycles over the previous ownership.
Yeah, well, there was a significant manipulation of the trending list, and
what kind of is
worldwide. I mean, you can just, I'd say, like, as a general rule of thumb, whatever conspiracy theory you've got about Twitter is probably true, even more true than you think it is.
Are you taking precautions?
Now,
no, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the path to, you know, having a sort of a clean system is maximum transparency. So that's why, like, for community notes, the software for community notes is completely open source. You can see every line. The data for community notes is completely open source. You can see the data, you can see the logic, and you can independently create the community note conclusion. So you can tell right away if there's manipulation, and there's always going to be some, with these things. It is not black or white. There's always going to be some degree of manipulation, but you just want to try to put as much sunlight on it. As I say, sunlight's the best disinfectant. You want to have it be as clear and transparent as possible. This will minimize the amount of manipulation. The more visible something is, the less it is in the shadows, the cleaner it will get. Will not be perfect, but it will be much better than something that is hidden.
One other point, I hope that you're making precautions for the possibility of X being banned from the App Store, using it as a save to home screen type of a feature. As you know, that's probably a very real possibility over the next 12 months. But one other thing here, and again, appreciate your time. I would also
well, I don't blame you, Cynthia.
Ask that the InfoWars account and Owen Schroyer and Rob Dew, they're employees of Alex, be unsuspended. They were lumped in with that initial suspension. And maybe I think it's time. I do believe CNN violated the terms of service of harassment. They posted a video a while ago, years ago, showing them harassing a poor old lady because she shared something on Facebook that originated from Russia, and you can see.
Yeah, but a lot of grown adults don't know how to act like it.
The number plate right on her house, and that's still on Twitter. So,
But Mark, let's not become them. Let's just
Yeah,
thank Mark.
exactly.
No, I'm just kind of want to troll them, give them taste of their own.
Well,
medicine. But anyway,
I do want to be clear that doxing, which includes revealing the pseudonym of someone. So I want to be clear. Sometimes some publications have claimed that revealing the pseudonym of someone is not doxing when it obviously is, will result in at least a temporary suspension. We will be very reluctant to give permanent suspensions, but we will give temporary suspensions for any kind of doxing activity or anything that endangers the health of another person in a meaningful way. And that includes major publications. That it does not matter who you are. It doesn't matter how.
The drama is very draining.
I should say this. There is one.
Too highly. I know. I think he's just grateful right now. But I'm sure that's going to change.
If it's a head of state recognized by the UN, even if
Elon really isn't in control of,
kind of crazy, which they
right
do,
now.
then we don't suspend a head of
There's
state.
still a lot of people that have. I mean,
I think that's
a lot of people that need to be brought back.
Crazy things at the UN Assembly, but
because we need to hear.
We have a cool thing for that.
I was just going to ask, I guess you don't like Nikki Haley's idea of basically doxing everyone?
No, I hate it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Mark,
look, the thing is that a lot of people obviously would face repercussions from their employer or from their government or from some organization if their identity is revealed, and that therefore inhibits the public dialogue. People, there've been professors who've been suspended for favoriting things on old Twitter. They literally got suspended for just tapping a favorite button. This is so you can say, like, look, if a tenured professor can get suspended from their job for just liking a post on the X platform, then obviously there is some need for people to be able to post things anonymously. Otherwise, they simply will not be able to speak their mind.
Absolutely,
for fear of losing their job.
It's anti-whistleblower, but I just want to say this because I think the community notes is the best thing ever. Even if somebody says something really horrible, I think there should be some buffer zone to at least let them respond as much as they can before they get banned. Because what I see everywhere is the PR firms will say somebody has said something they didn't say. They create this woke mob response. Then the person's taken down, and then most of the time, it's not even true what was claimed.
General?
Yeah. Anyway, we're very much are on the side of freedom of speech, which is really just saying, in America, we're gonna uphold the Constitution of the United States, and that's what we're gonna do, and uphold the laws of the country. And if the laws are changed, we will.
Yeah, I saw his
then
take
change our
on
behavior to match the laws. And we'll
Alex Jones as well.
And we also can only match the laws in other countries, because sometimes people will say, "Well, why don't you demand freedom in some other country?"
My personal account's still banned.
Well, we don't make the laws in that country.
I don't think you're caught up, Anna.
If we don't adhere to the laws of the country, they will simply cut us off. And so we can't do more than that. So we're basically.
What about the other factors, Elon? Before going to General Flynn, you've got obviously laws, but you've got the
General Flynn is on here,
business, and you've got external pressure. How do you balance all these when fighting for free speech?
Well, we're gonna obviously favor free speech.
How much time is left on this?
Very clear in this regard. That if it is
all right, guys, I'm gonna share the link to
freedom,
this.
we will pick freedom.
I have to get going.
Yeah, hey, thank you, Mario. Thanks for hosting this thing. You're doing a wonderful job. This is really a question for Alex and Elon, a statement, and I wish Andrew and Vivek were still on, but
Joe,
we've talked about these different sort of array of forces between the globalists and the humanists.
Are you in that loop where you're trying to ask them exactly what you did and they don't want to tell you?
Like to see and
that's where I'm at. I know
take.
why I
him.
was
He's
removed.
I think he's such
Because
a wonderful debater.
somehow I got hacked and there was a couple of
I'd like to
spams
know
about
if there's possibility
Bitcoin. I
to
never post
set up
anything about
a
Bitcoin.
intellectual debate
So obviously it wasn't me.
between, you know, the Alex
It's done on
Jones,
purpose.
Elon Musk, Andrew Tate, Vivek, probably throw Tucker in there. Maybe there's Joe Rogan against a debate, an intellectual debate against the you know, the Klaus Schwabs, the Bill Gates of the world, and then there's others.
They
in
won't
that.
do it because we'll kill them.
Well,
General.
I disagree. I mean, this is how we fight today, right? We are fighting in an information domain. Andrew, you know, I wish he was still on because I'd love to hear his take. Because, you know, Andrew starts to imply, and there's a lot of people that imply this. You know, we're going to move to something that we don't want to, a place that we don't want to be, because of this. Frankly, what I see is a globalist takeover, and I'm all with you, Alex, and you and I have talked about this a lot.
Hey, JC.
What I would really like to see is an
Love the
intellectual debate and a
emoji.
challenge. You know, I mean, otherwise, because 2024 is going to be for the United States is going to be a historically consequential moment in history, and I would prefer that we extraordinary session that I've been listening to for the last couple of hours here, and I would really like to hear at least Alex, because you're on, and I think Elon's still on. What do you think about setting up some type of intellectual debate, or at least array the
on X,
you know,
on X,
yeah,
as well, doing it through Spaces.
well, on
like
X, on X, or however, yeah, I
Rumble's
would
still
love
having
to see them
issues.
come on X to do this, because this would be wonderful.
Would you, Alex, would you be open, you and Elon, would you be open for such a debate?
Well, let me just throw this in because I'm chomping at the bit here, and then Elon will take over. It should be on X. They had the last Republican debate, and it had like 5 million viewers. This is going to have 50 million viewers. We keep acting like dinosaur media even still matters. It should only be held on X, and I would love to see it in this format or with an added video component to it.
Yeah.
Yes.
We
Challenge their intellectual ideas.
Way, so
I'm sorry.
that's coming soon.
And that's my point. That's my point. We have to challenge their intellectual arguments.
Yeah, and I agree with the general.
Rumble's website is down, I think.
Hold on, Laura.
I was just going to say that from a feature standpoint, we are.
Anybody bring up Rumble at all?
Adding video to Spaces, so
I had one guy in my chat, but I can't even
thing where
refresh
you can turn video on or
my
off,
own page.
And then whoever's speaking at the video will switch to them, just like if it's I guess like a group call or something like that.
Oh wow.
So that I think will help. You know,
What asked Monroe?
It's helpful to see people's body language as I speak. It conveys more information if you can see.
Hey, that menorah is
body
lit.
language, if they wish to.
When do you think that will?
We're hopeful of we hope to release that functionality before the end of the year, but certainly by early next year.
Huge. Well, that's a big technological announcement.
That's a big one. That's big.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
go to
I don't
CJ.
consider that very big, so that's pretty easy, frankly. But yeah, so it'll be cool, I think. Yeah.
But it's just fascinating how far Spaces. I remember being on Spaces since the early days, pre-Elon, to see how far it's gone and to be able to have discussions like this. I don't think the audience understands. There's never been any platform where voices from all sides, voices that were censored before, we're all speaking in one place.
Oh, let's be clear. There's been more innovation since Elon took over than the whole history before.
I'll jump off, but I just want to say thanks to Elon.
Oh, Press NH has had one more video. I'm gonna I dropped the link again.
I mean, I really have to credit the X team.
Yeah, let me do it real quick.
Making massive improvements.
Here's this link. I'm gonna do Press NH's last video before we head out.
Until
This
a
one's
massive
not
amount
too
of work
long.
was put into it. It obviously broke rather embarrassingly in the Ron DeSantis situation. And we didn't realize how fragile and weak it was. And since then, we've put massive work into making Spaces actually robust and be able to have, you can have at this point millions of people listening simultaneously.
It's a short. Never mind.
Let me be clear, Elon.
Difficult to do.
Elon, I've never seen an interface that works this good. I mean, you've got a whole how you're doing this. And General Flynn did bring up the best question in the last 2 hours. So I'm sorry I was getting so excited I interrupted the general. He's absolutely right. We should be challenging them to debate us. I agree with you, General. That's really a key point. I'm saying they're too cowardly to do it. How do we?
Jack,
I take it it's just a short. I thought it was part 2 of his video from this morning. Probably won't be till tomorrow or later.
Remember, I think the first space he came on, and we hit 100K live listeners, and it broke, so it wouldn't show.
Yeah. True.
I don't know how to do it, Alex.
109,000 right now. 109,000.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it, but I know that that we have to do it. We don't have a. I think we are in a place where we don't have a choice right now. I think the intellectual arguments on their side, I just think that they're going to fall flat, and they don't really have a good argument. And Elon mentioned it early on about, how much energy it takes to lie. I mean, it just does, to lie to so many damn people. But we have to pick this fight. It has to be intellectual. Our intellectual arguments are much stronger. And I just think we have to have the right type of people. And, those people have been on here today and invite these people. I mean, if they don't want to come, we call them out as cowards. I mean,
wait a minute. Being poor and everybody, wait a minute. General Flynn, hold on a minute. I'm going to call you out right now. Eating bugs, drag queen story time, open borders, World War III. You're saying that's not how you're saying their plan isn't wonderful?
Hey, for a guy that has had to eat bugs, Alex, they don't taste very good. So, yeah.
I'll go one step further. I think we should see a 2v2 MMA duel between Elon and Alex versus Klaus Schwab and Bill Gates. I think that'd be the real.
I think Elon should call him out. It'll be bigger than the top UFC fight. If those cowards will show up, my God, it'll be their Waterloo.
Elon, you know how the media works. Do you want to call them out and then you'll get that snippet all over the media?
Well, I'm certainly happy to have a debate with Klaus Schwab or others. I think you guys may have been following what's going on in Davos more than I have, and certainly more than the vast majority of people have. I think most people don't even know that there is a conference in Davos or the World Economic Forum. And I've only seen snippets, but some of the snippets are concerning, and I don't think we should have a sort of an unelected quasi-governmental organization deciding our future. Who said who made them the boss? Do people even know that they're doing this? I'm not okay with some organization, that I don't vote for, controlling, my destiny or that of other people. And they, I don't know if they're necessarily fully controlling, but they certainly are influencing things. And and it's, I just don't. I think an unelected world government is not a good idea.
Well,
how much? How much?
Right. Look, I don't have a dog in the fight. Russia, Ukraine. It's an old ancient fight between the two countries that's been going on for 1,000 years. It's a Slavic civil war, but Ukraine is arresting the Orthodox Church. Ukraine, even the mayor of Kiev has said Zelensky's becoming a dictator. So all I'm saying is this black hole we're feeding hundreds of billions into, we should at least be able to debate it. And if an American journalist is critical, he doesn't deserve to be put in a gulag. That is very dangerous. I agree, Elon.
And as for Starlink for Gaza?
Yeah, and on the Starlink for Gaza front, I mean, obviously that place is currently a war front next level. So in order for Starlink to be used in Gaza, terminals have to be brought in, and they have to be used in a way that where it is there's a high degree of certainty that they are not being used for any violence. So now there are only really two ways to get into Gaza. One is through Egypt, and the other is through Israel. So if there was a situation where, say, Egypt was willing to let a Starlink terminal in, and that we could have very high certainty that the terminal would not be used for any kind of military purposes or for violence, then we would support that. Egypt has not stepped forward, to the best of my knowledge, in that regard, and obviously we're not going to be played for fools here, where if an organization would perhaps pretend to be using Starlink for peaceful purposes, but then actually use it for violent purposes, we will basically ask for a webcam on that thing 24/7, and and if there's the slightest concern about it being used for violent means, it would be turned off. So that's the situation there. I mean, it is a very difficult situation, and I I am sympathetic to Israel, but I also I'm sympathetic to civilians in Gaza. So it's not. I'm pro-human, to be clear. And
100%.
So uh,
Elon,
yeah.
it's just like, here's the deal. I'm not pro-Russian. I'm not pro-Ukraine. I hate the war. I'm pro all of them. I agree. But when you learned that they were using Starlink to rig up robot boats to blow up battleships when Russia said they were going to launch nukes if they did, you didn't sign up Starlink to be a weapon system. It's very fair to say it's my company. It's my.
Well, yes. To be clear, the Crimea and the sort of sea around Crimea was an officially sanctioned area by the United States, and we were not actually the Starlink cells were not turned on in Crimea, in the area around Crimea, because of U.S. law would prevent us from doing so. There was a Ukrainian attempted attack on the fleet in Sevastopol, and I got an emergency call saying, like, hey, we need to turn on the cells around Sevastopol. And I'm like, well, that's currently a U.S. sanctions zone. We would need permission from the U.S. government to do so. And in fact, I don't, and it would also mean that we are directly complicit in an attack on the Russian fleet directly. It wouldn't be, there's no plausible deniability here. Now, even though I'm not the biggest fan of President Biden, but if President Biden had called and said, as the President of the United States, I'm asking you to turn the cells on, I would have done so. But we did not get any such call. We were only called by the Ukrainian government, and the Ukrainian government is not my boss. So, it's like, and so we can't, it would actually be illegal for me to turn on Starlink cells at the request of a foreign government, in a sanctioned territory sanctioned by the United States. That would actually be a violation of U.S. law. So it's like,
they were setting you up like Cindy Bay of Pigs.
Yeah, but the media misrepresented it as I turned off the cells. This is not true. They were never on. So, and if I had turned them on, I would have broken U.S. law. And I would need an exemption from the State Department and express written permission from the president in order to do.
And that's why Blinken.
Yeah. So, and I do think we need to be cautious about escalating that war, and we need to find a path to peace.
Good names on here. Laura Loomer threw a little hissy fit because she didn't get into it enough.
The flower of Ukrainian and Russian youth.
I think basically she's right though. They invited her just to bring her followers, and then she never
which is currently
got a moment to speak.
Do you think with the sentiment?
I've got a question.
Let me go to CJ and I'll go to you. Let me go to CJ and I'll go to you right after. CJ.
Mario.
Hey, Mario. Thank you.
Laura,
thank you so
go
much.
ahead, CJ.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mario, for hosting this. Elon, my name is CJ Pearson. I'm a 21-year-old conservative activist, and I currently work at Prager University. And General Flynn made a really important point a little bit earlier about how Twitter has made it super accessible for conversations like this to happen, debates and discourse. And
yeah,
Alex,
if your account doesn't get banned.
Earlier, that if you look at the debates and the viewership that they've had, you don't really see them reaching all that.
I'll tell you what,
young people via traditional.
I'm saying I'm streaming on there right
and
now.
One
If
idea that
I get taken down,
myself have
I'm
had,
gonna just keep opening up new accounts.
Influencers have had is having a Gen Z moderated debate or town hall.
I mean, this is my content creator account, but my personal account is still
what would you
suspended
think about something like that?
for
Do you think
unknown
that would be
reasons.
a way for America's next
Twitter.
generation to hear different ideas that they obviously aren't hearing currently on their college campuses?
Well, actually, I don't believe in exclusivity, but I think that that not doing it on the X platform makes no sense. Things should be done on the X platform because it is the most widely accessible platform. It is where you will see it has by far the most reach. The X platform has by far the most reach of anything. You know that you know, although like I don't this conversation, I don't know, might top out at maybe a few 100,000 people live, but it will probably go viral afterwards, and I don't know, probably have 10 million people listen to it, or 20
We've
million.
had
It's gonna be pretty nutty.
on the mutiny space. We had 18 million listeners from memory.
Yeah, no,
When we did the Russian
exactly. So I mean, the way to think of this platform is that there, on an average day, there are over 250 million people on the platform. That's an average day. Some days it's more like 300 or 400 million, and a really crazy day could be like 500 million. So I mean, we're you know, at times we're starting to approach 10% of all humans who are online are on the platform.
Well, Elon,
So it's a very big
line,
number. And we're
Elon,
not even, and we're obviously not active in China. We're it's not, you know, X doesn't work in China. Actually, it works on international phones, but not domestic phones. And I believe it is also does not work in Russia. So so that's it's more. I think we do exceed 10% of all humans at times on this platform. So it seems crazy to ignore this platform because then you're just going to reach far fewer people.
well, Elon, bottom line here, the proof is in the pudding. You judge the tree by its fruits. You are the only massive platform that's open and free. People are hungry. It's exploding. This is the example for the world, and we're trying to stop war. We're trying to create a pro-human future. This is what this is really all about. I've been very honored.
Alex, before you're honored, just to give you an idea of how Spaces works, and just in the last couple of hours, that was meant to be an interview with you. Then Elon jumped on, Andrew Tate, his brother. We just had Vivek jump on, and Matt Gates just jumped on as well.
Loved it.
And that's one thing with Space, you just never know who could come up. Matt, how are you?
I'm great. I'm enjoying hearing Elon's perspective on adding value to all of our followerships and allowing us to engage.
Your thoughts on Alex Jones being back on the platform?
I think it's great. Alex has been someone who's provoked a lot of critical thinking from policymakers and broad audiences. You know, of course, there are things that I'm going to say that would offend people, things that Alex would say that would offend people, but I think they'll just have to be offended. I think it enriches the discussion to have Alex back.
Suleiman?
Yeah, I've got a few questions. My first question is, we've seen extremely positive steps in terms of the return of Alex Jones. We've seen the return of Andrew Tate. We've seen the return of President Trump. And so X is definitely moving towards a free speech platform. My question is, when will we be able to get to a situation where it's completely free speech and it's just based solely on following the legal laws of the country? I know it's a process and it takes time, but how far do we envision this happening? How far in the future?
Well, I mean, I think we've made dramatic progress over the past year. You know, it's only been a year since the acquisition closed, and it's been quite difficult to. We had to not just keep the wheels on the bus, but upgrade the bus while it's going down the highway.
Well, Elon's cut out. Thomas Jefferson said, "We will not be transported to the state of liberty on a feather bed." Go ahead. Is Elon back?
No, I think he might have gotten a call. No, you're back, Elon.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I'm just saying it's been quite difficult to keep the wheels on the bus and upgrade the bus while barreling down the highway at 100 miles an hour. So that's kind of where but I think we've made tremendous progress in a year, and I think that progress I think is accelerating. So and we keep cleaning up the code base and simplifying it and providing more transparency and providing more clarity and obviously improving freedom of speech and getting closer and closer to the law. And I just want to say, with respect to the law, I am a strong believer in the law. So you'll sometimes read an article where it sounds like I'm some crazy maverick who just likes breaking the law. It's like I am subject to so many laws that I might be hundreds of thousands of laws, maybe millions. When you think about Tesla and SpaceX and Starlink and all the countries that they're in and all the regulatory regimes and all the rules and regulations that we have to adhere to, And the amazing thing is how closely we actually adhere to the law and follow the law, and do what countries believe is right and
Chopper.
legal. And once in a while, in a very rare
Legitimate.
case, I might disagree with the law or regulation, but we will not willfully violate it.
I think people are just finally sick and tired of
so
it.
what I'm trying to say is I'm extremely law-abiding.
More people are sick. A lot of people have been sick and tired of it for a long
Elon,
time,
I
but
totally agree with
I
you.
think
I don't
more
know
people
how
are sick and tired of it now than ever.
people talk about Trump's energy. Your energy is insane. Where does your energy come from? Going back to being a child, did you kind of just, we know the universe is a loop or a figure eight. It doesn't just go in one direction. Did you have inklings of the big things you were going to do? Or when you were a child, did you have any like foresight about what you were going to be doing?
No, not really. I just I liked technology, and like taking devices apart and fixing them and building things, and I loved science fiction, fantasy, like Lord of the Rings and Heinlein and Asimov and Star Trek and Star Wars, and that's and I didn't know what I was going to do. I liked it, like programming computers. I found programming computers to be intrinsically interesting. Not because I thought I'd have a job. Actually, I didn't think I'd have a job. I know you could even make money writing computer software, but I was just interested in it in and of itself. So I'd program computers all night by myself, which is not, it doesn't appeal to everyone. That's, I think, actually quite an unusual thing, to want to sort of type strange symbols into a computer all night, essentially by yourself, is not what most people want to do. But I did like doing that, and but also like hanging out with friends and stuff. But no, I didn't think any of this would happen. I would say I have a philosophy of curiosity, which is that trying to understand more about the nature of the universe and our place in it, and that's why I studied physics, not for career reasons, just try to understand how the universe actually works, and what has good predictive value, and physics has got very good predictive value, so that's why I studied it.
Then give us your predictive value, gut level. Elon Musk. This is like beyond any Hollywood movie where we're at right now. Does humanity survive? Gut level. You've got all these great children. That means you bet on humanity.
There's 7 people on
The
here.
next level.
There's a few people on Rumble too, if they were able to get in there before it crashed again.
Elon, you there?
Sorry.
While
Yeah.
waiting for
One needs to think of the future as probabilities and not certainties. So then, any given action that we do can affect the probability of a good outcome. There are no certainties that I can determine, or at least I do not have a crystal ball that can predict.
So we're changing the future.
Yes, I think by our actions, we can individually take actions that improve the probability of a good future, and the furtherance of civilization. And I think we should, take those actions. And
we have the floor.
Some of that involves
Well, I'm about to
we've got to
close
have
the
kids,
floor.
or there won't be a next generation. And we've got to educate them well, and
warming up the car.
So don't hold. Let me say this
for
point.
our civilization. Yeah.
Let me ask this question, Elon, because you're obviously a genius. We're here talking to you right now. Don't predict the future. Be the future.
Yes. The best way to I think, and I forget who came up with this, but the best way to predict the future is to create it.
Yes.
I do want to. Jason Calacanis is here, and they've started. Yeah, let me go to Jason quickly, Suleiman. I'll go to you in a bit. Jason, a quick question to you first. Would you have Alex Jones on the All In podcast? Sorry to put you on the spot.
Well, I have him here now, so would it be okay if I asked him 3 questions?
Go ahead.
Yeah, but Elon's far more fascinating. Please ask Elon questions.
Jason.
Well, Alex, my first question for you is, I'm curious if you'd be willing to answer 3 questions about the Sandy Hook parents.
Oh, great. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Well, you now have your freedom of speech and you're here. So I think a lot of people are wondering, What
Cranston.
theories
All right.
or
That's
evidence
with that. I'm gonna.
led you to
Yeah, I'm glad to be
believe
back
that
too, guys.
that was a fake,
Cranston's an idiot,
staged situation?
and he already
He's already
apologized
answered
for
these
it.
questions.
Yeah, every
Well,
time
no,
I
but we're
did
here on
this,
Spaces for the first time. Let's ask him.
No, he already answered
I think
this
people are actually gonna
like
get at
40
some point
minutes
get tired
ago.
of Alex
yeah.
asking
Let
us
me
this
answer this.
question.
Let me answer this. Everything I say is misrepresented. You'll say I'm saying it again. I believe it happened, and I'm sorry, and I apologize, and I'm done.
Okay. And so, what did you get wrong
Fuck this guy.
about that
All right,
situation?
guys.
I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad, oh baby's hella bad. After her there ain't no coming back. Wanna take a run at that. I think she's feeling me, turn it up a few degrees. My imagination of her body gets the best of me. Oh gosh, she's such a tease, bitten lips, bruised knees. I'm addicted to her, need her touching me, cause she got a bad little waist. And we tearing down this place, off the liquor that we chase. Casamigos to the face, baby, I don't need no space. Coming closer for a taste, and I'll show you how I make everything just fade away. Cause she's like sex, drugs, cocaine, body so insane. Jealous of the clothing that she wears up on a tight frame. All game, no shame, baby came here to play. I feel like an addict cause she's sex, drugs, cocaine. Got a fine little body and her mind's kinda naughty. They say that once you taste it, you cannot replace it. She could get you high, all the dopamine inside triggers fast once she's naked. Her body's a creation. They say the devil made her for his entertainment, but even he couldn't learn how to contain it. Her high heels make a damn good statement. There is no replacement, a body by Satan. Cause she got a bad little waist, and we tearing down this place. Off the liquor that we chase, Casamigos to the face. Baby, I don't need no space. Coming closer for a taste, and I'll show you how I make everything just fade away. Cause she's like sex, drugs, coke.